your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look at my soul. I've been afraid I would follow alone. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
It is Wednesday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com. Ron Potesta with you alongside Anthony Hardwig. Yes, he is back. Did you have fun yesterday?
I did. We had a lot of content from Monday night put up during the day, and then I went to Western Reserve and did their volleyball game against McDonald. It was a good game for Western Reserve. They swept McDonald 3-0, and they came back in the second set from down 24-15 and scored 10 points in a row to save off set point.
Now, let me ask you, can you win 25-24?
Got to win by 2.
You got to win by 2.
Yep.
Okay.
So they won 27-25 in set number 2.
Wow.
So
There you go.
And they have Olivia Hughes down there, who is the sister of Aaliyah Hughes, who did amazing things at Western Reserve and then went on to do amazing things at Youngstown State as part of their volleyball team. So she was as advertised as you would expect from someone that's named Hughes. And Danny Volatich down there, the senior middle blocker, just doing great things. So yeah, they were fun to watch. But then also on the McDonald side, you got to see the Howard girls, do things outside of basketball, and that's good to see that they're multi-sport athletes and they put their effort out there. And McDonald had set 2-1. It just kind of slipped out of their hands.
Yeah, you gotta play to the end.
Gotta finish.
Gotta finish. That's the bottom line. And speaking of gotta finish, we'll be talking with some coaches that are hoping to finish what they started last year. Ron Johnson from Salem, whose team jumped out to a 5-0 start, actually went into the playoffs. They were one and done, but they got into the postseason, and they have most everyone back. They do lose a handful of more than a handful of seniors, but or now graduating kids. But they do have a number of kids back, and Coach Ron Johnson from Salem will be joining us at 12:15. Brian Cholnar will be joining us. He of Mill Creek, and I looked on Twitter. Someone on the Twitter account, and I believe it was Brian on his Twitter account, he had the video of the cart paths. Oh my gosh.
It's good.
Man, are these things beautiful. They're absolutely gorgeous. Brian Tolnar will be jumping in via the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline at 1 o'clock today.
We need to talk more about Dustin Johnson with Brian.
Yeah, 30 under. That's just the number is still absolutely amazing. We'll get Brian Tolnar on to talk about the tournament that's just concluded, and we'll preview the BMW Championship. Something that Jason Kokrak, we didn't think he would be in this tournament, but he put together a top 15 performance and got himself into the top 70 in the FedEx Cup.
66, right?
Yeah, so he's 66th. So hopefully he has a hell of a good time. Well, actually, he needed another 6 to have that joke stick.
Come on.
Yeah, that's
That's okay. Last night it was the Devils, and I said, top of the broadcast, I said, someone get a priest.
Wow. All right. Someone better form an exorcism here.
Because
there you go.
we're surrounded by devils.
Oh, Lordy.
Oh, no.
Champion coach Tim McGlynn. They're not devils. They're just golden
just
flashes. Yeah.
Man, they can run fast.
Yes, they can. Tim
Athletic
McGlynn
team.
will be joining us at 1:30 to talk champion boys football. And they're 2-8 last year, but they do have a lot of kids coming back. Now, we'll find out how good they are when they take on Crestview Friday night. Crestview has everybody back, and Crestview had a very nice at least in their league, they had a very nice season. They were 5-1 in their league. The only loss coming to Brookfield. At 2:00, an old friend joins the running point portion of my career, and that would be Vindicator Tribune sports editor Doug Chapin. Doug Chapin will be appearing on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline at 2:00, and he'll be a Wednesday fixture here on Running Point, as he was when I was over at Clear Channel. Or why do I want to keep saying Clear Channel? It's iHeartMedia. Good God. I just dated myself like 10 years ago. When I was doing my show over there, Doug Chapin was one of our guests, and he will be on to talk some Trumbull and Mahoning County high school sports, and it'll be good to bend Doug Chapin's ear. This should be an awful lot of fun. And he, before the Tribune took over the Vindicator, he was the sports editor for the Tribune Chronicle, and whenever you wanted to talk Trumbull County sports, this is the guy you want to talk to. So most definitely he has his finger on the pulse of Trumbull County schools, and now that he's also the sports editor for the Vindicator, and they have done a phenomenal job since the merger of the two papers. The football preview, I thought the football preview in both the Vindicator and the Tribune Chronicle were nothing short of spectacular. So we'll catch up with Doug this afternoon at 2:00. Should be a good time.
Yeah, we have a show full of guests and plenty to talk about because tomorrow football season starts.
Yeah, so we got a handful of games on ysnlive.com, and again, our pay-per-view era begins tomorrow.
And today. You can pre-sale the 5 games that we have on tomorrow. So we'll have pre-sale available today, so you can buy your tickets today, not have to worry about it, and kick off and just hit play tomorrow at 7:00 and be good to go.
Yeah, now you're not going to save any money, but you get this taken care of. I mean, You don't want to procrastinate.
We're also that and you don't want to have to go through all this new stuff like at 6:58 and then miss your kickoff. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
People like to wait to the last minute, and if you do that and then you run into a little bug or something, then you're going to miss kickoff by a couple minutes. And then, if you miss a kickoff return for a touchdown.
Well, and the other thing is, if you get on board, say, the third quarter, you're still going to be paying $9.99.
Right. And
so
that
more, just another reason to get this done as quickly as possible. And don't be a member of the Procrastinators Club, which, by the way, I am the president. Our meetings are Tuesdays, but we meet on Saturdays.
He's got the jokes today, guys.
Yeah, I got the jokes today.
It's going to be a fun show.
I got the jokes today. No joking, up in Berea, the
Nice
Browns
segue.
lose Grant Delpit, the safety that everyone wanted to see. He blew his Achilles out.
And he'll come back from that.
He's not this year. He ain't coming back. And all of a sudden, this defense, which was already mediocre at best, has taken a severe hit. And I know a lot of folks were saying, well, now that Earl Thomas was released by Baltimore, maybe we should get a hold. No, absolutely
you already have enough
not.
Problems in that locker room.
You have enough problems. You don't need a guy that's going to walk in there and be late for meetings and start fighting his teammates and whatnot. You're trying to build something special. That's Earl Thomas is.
You know what?
No.
Earl Thomas, it just fit the whole realm of things. Go into Dallas. Because Dallas doesn't care about that one lick of thing, and they look past character like it's their job. So
or New England.
I wouldn't be. Well, New England doesn't look past it. New England changes it. Dallas just says, "Come on, be a jerk. It doesn't matter."
Yeah.
And that's why they don't win games, and the Patriots do.
Well, this is true. This is true. But no, I mean, obviously the Browns took a serious hit with the loss of Delpit with his Achilles tear, and I don't want to put a wet blanket over stuff, but I mean, I didn't think this team was going to be out of third place to begin with, and I certainly don't think they're going to be out of third place now that they've lost Delpit. The truth is, Pittsburgh and Baltimore are both better than Cleveland, whether Delpit plays or not. These two teams are better than Cleveland, and Now if Mayfield plays like he did his rookie year, okay, now the gap is narrowed a bit.
There's the thing: the gap on paper isn't on their offense. I mean, they're pretty close on offense.
Sure,
it's the defenses of Baltimore and Pittsburgh that are just so much better than the Browns right now.
Yeah, and obviously if you don't have a good defense right now, with or without Delpit, they're mediocre, and I think they're a little worse now. Even though Delpit's a rookie, who knows what he would have done his rookie year? But we're not going to know now. Look, you're going up against two reasonably good quarterbacks. Ben Roethlisberger, who has won championships and has been a great quarterback his entire career and will be in Canton when he retires. You don't think he's going to be licking his chops? Now, obviously, the million-dollar question, can Roethlisberger's elbow hold up for the entire year? If it can, they're the best team in the division. If it can't, then Baltimore's the best team in the division. So, and Baltimore has a quarterback that could be a pain in the butt to deal with because he runs the ball so exceptionally well. And when you're on your back heels trying to figure out, okay, is he going to run? Is he going to pass? Just the play calling, the execution. When he's on, that offense is a thing of beauty.
And they have enough weapons that it's hard to play them in zone all the time.
Exactly.
So when you play him a man, your back's turned to Lamar Jackson, and then all of a sudden you'll turn around
and he's gone. Yeah.
So it's just like any team that has that kind of weapons and then also has even a remotely mobile quarterback that can run. They're dangerous because you have to play them in man. There's no way to get around it.
Yeah, now I think Cleveland matches up with Baltimore in that they can score some points. Yeah. And again, the secret to beating Baltimore is get them down. And now you've
Lamar
taken
Jackson
away.
Still hasn't learned his lesson.
Now you've taken away half of their offense. Right. If you're down 2 touchdowns and you have to throw the ball, then the threat of I'm going to run is taken off the table. Now you can concentrate on him being a passer.
It has been because Lamar Jackson has had mental breakdowns and started to force stuff. But just a football scheme, when you have someone that is that talented and like the defense is thinking they're in a passing situation, that's a golden time for a quarterback draw.
Oh, it is.
For Lamar, that would be the greatest time to use Lamar Jackson's feet off of the pass because everyone's going to be downfield protecting the pass because that's what
But you better hope and pray he gets the first down. Otherwise, then it's everyone will look at that and go, 3rd and long, and you did that? What?
Well, what if they're down by 14? It's 1st and 10. You do a quarterback draw.
Well, you could do that. No, absolutely.
Running is still on the table with Baltimore. It's just, and I think it has been. I think Lamar Jackson has just been when he's down, he gets in his head, and forces mistakes and doesn't make good decisions.
So we'll definitely chat about that. But coming up next, we will hear from the head football coach of the Salem Quakers, Ron Johnson. Will be joining the program. It is a Wednesday edition of Running Point. So glad you're in. What's that?
Not the surf shop.
No, not the surf shop. Ron John surf shop is not going to be in the house, but Ron John, the football coach, is going to be in the house, and that's probably better than the surf shop because me on a surfboard goes like peanut butter and
that's one of those
anchovies.
Slow down.
Whoa! You want a surfboard? No, that ain't happening. Fat boy, don't go on a surfboard. The surfboard goes right into the bottom of the ocean, and I'm sitting here neck high in water going,
looking like a nice seal for all
what the hell? What's I thought I was catching some waves. No, you're sinking to the bottom of the sea, you fat bastard. 330-886-0813. Back in a bit. Stick around.
21 News.
Let's get right to our top story tonight.
More experienced reporters.
A new Wilmington restaurant.
GM Lordstown.
Telling more local stories.
We'll look at efforts
boy is recovering from a broken
around our valley.
Community in Niles. We are here in Youngstown, right up.
Because you expect.
It's important for everyone.
No place like home.
More local news.
In Mercer County Court.
21 News is our valley's #1 local news.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends. Shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring. And, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
Hello, I'm Greg Burbick with G. Burbick Farms. For the last 100 years, my family has farmed in Columbiana and Mahoning counties. I began raising cattle in 1996 with the goal of providing a better product for you and your family on the dinner table. Our grass-fed and grain-supplemented Black Angus beef are raised with no hormones, steroids, or antibiotics. We're known for our hometown-friendly service and incredible tasting products. We're locally owned and have customers across the tri-state area. Our products go from our farm to your family. Stop by our farm on New Buffalo Road or visit us on the web at gburbickfarms.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook. G. Burbick Farms, it just tastes better.
Welcome back to a Wednesday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com. High school football begins in earnest on Friday as the Salem Quakers will be in action. And to talk and preview the upcoming 2020 Salem Quakers season, let's get on the horn, go to the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline, and fetch ourselves Coach Ron Johnson of the Salem Quakers. Ron, how are you today, sir?
I'm doing great today, Ron. How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful, and we said off the air or before the break that Ron John, the football coach, is a heck of a lot better than the Ron John surfing place, because I don't surf, but I love talking football with you. That's for sure.
Great.
Hey, let's talk some Quakers football. Last year, you guys jumped out to a 5-0 start, a lot of come-from-behind victories. You go to the playoffs. You finish 8-3 on the campaign. You lost a handful of players, but Coach, a lot of kids coming back, and you get the feeling that you're in the middle of starting something very special in Salem.
Yeah, we do. I mean, you got to replace guys every year, and even though you can't replace their talents, the program kind of sustains itself. We get great leadership with our seniors every year, and they pass down the expectations, and our guys do a great job of upholding that.
When you look at last year's schedule, you lost the 2 games in regular season, both by 1 possession. So you had to think that both those games were in your grasp, and then you circle West Branch and beat West Branch. And when you look at how successful last year was, do you think that this year is a little bit of trying to just kind of mold that and trying to up the bar a little bit for your program?
Well, I tell you, our guys are so gracious and so grateful to be able to play football, especially in the situation we're in today. We've gotten great effort. We expect every year to be a great year. We expect to go undefeated every year. But what being here 9 years now, our kids have seen what it looks like, and our expectations are just as high this year as they are any. We had a great year last year. I thought that was as close as we've ever come to maximizing our potential was last year's team. So if we can maximize our potential again, and this year and then every year after, we'll be real happy.
Coach, I know that you guys normally you take this team on the last week of the season. This time around, for whatever reason, you guys are getting the rivalry game out of the way early. You take a trip to Beloit on Friday night to take on West Branch. Talk a little bit about the 2020 Quakers, kids that are coming back, and what you have seen on the football field that puts a smile on your face this year, Coach.
Well, starting off with a rivalry game is a little bit unique, but, it kind of gets your guys' attention right out of the gate. They know there's no, time to catch up or to get better. They got to play their best game week 1. I mean, this is a superiorly talented team in West Branch. I mean, they got so many guys, so much speed all over the field. It's going to be, a very, very difficult task to kind of keep them under wraps. We did play in week 10, so we are the last game that they've played. So I don't know how much changing they will do, but but our guys have been on the field with him recently. So we have some expectation of what they're going to give us. But it's a new year, and it's Coach Harris' second year, so I'm sure they're going to do a lot of things differently. But we have some good leadership on the field with Jack Booth being a two-way player at safety and at wide receiver, has been a 3-year starter for us. Blaze Exline is another great athlete that's playing both ways for us as well at corner and wide receiver. And, we got our trigger back. Anytime you can start and going into a season with a returning quarterback, it sure does help you. Now, we lost 9 guys off our starting defense, everybody except those 2 DBs. So that's all going to be brand new. But, when you're in your 9th year and you run the same offense and the same defense for 9 years, and the kids have had it since 2nd grade, 3rd grade, and they're familiar with it, you think the growing pains will be minimal. They just got to get the game experience. But we got an incredible challenge in West Branch, and just hope we can hang in there and stay with them.
The downside, of course, to losing those players is the experience, but the upside is these kids that are starting for the first time on defense have to be extremely thrilled for the opportunity. What have you seen from the kids that are going to get that opportunity to be on the varsity's defense and how they've kind of handled themselves gearing up for the season?
Well, we run a 3-4 front here, so we got like 9 to 12 guys that are going to play on our defensive line. It's going to be like hockey lines. We're just going to keep sending them out there to keep them fresh. Then as the game goes, see which 3 work and the best and play the best. And maybe at a critical stage late in the game, we'll have our top line out there. At linebacker, Dylan Monroy did get a start at the end of last year in the playoffs as a freshman. Returns at linebacker should be good for us there. And we have a couple seniors starting for the first time, and Divine Allah and Landon Cooper at outside linebackers that should be play a big role for us. It's hard to replace those 9 guys on defense, but the Springfield scrimmage certainly helped. I mean, it gave us a chance to get guys out there in some live action, but we're excited for these guys to get their opportunity to play.
Coach, you said something that made an awful lot of sense to me, and I wish that there were more programs that incorporated this. You made mention, hey, we run the same offense and the same defense, and we have run the same offense and same defense all the way down to our Pee Wee League. And I think that is just so important to have continuity, where if you have kids in the Little Quakers program, they're running essentially the same thing that you're running on the varsity level. And by the time you're going into high school, you should pretty much have the playbook on the wraps and get ready to play some football. I just love the continuity aspect of that.
Yeah, we try real hard to be a K through 12 program, and of course everything's modified to the age level, but the language is all the same. Everything's called the same thing, taught the same way. The distances or the depth of routes and those kind of things may be reduced based on the size of the kid and the age of the kid, but they've heard all of the same language, so they understand conceptually what it is, and that gives us the opportunity to have young kids play early. I mean, we're going to rely on a boatload of sophomores this year to play a lot of football for us. But heck, they were undefeated in 9th grade and 8th grade. So, I mean, that's a pretty good team. So we're excited to give those kids a chance to play this year on varsity.
What should Quaker fans expect from your offense coming back this season?
Well, we're still going to take what the defense gives us. There's games where we run it every snap. There's games where we throw it every snap. We're just going to take what the defense gives us, and we're fortunate enough to have kids that, again, have been in the program for a long time, so they understand what they see and the adjustments they make. And there's a lot of times, a lot of games where we only call maybe 10 plays and of the whole game, and then the quarterback or the offense checks the rest of it. They call it at the line. So we just kind of give them a concept, let them see it, and just take what the defense gives us.
Coach, I love the fact that you guys played your only scrimmage against arguably the best team in this area, or at the very least, the team that went the furthest in the postseason. What was that scrimmage like, and were you guys able to slow down that Springfield offense?
Well, I tell you a couple things. Springfield's a great team. They got a great staff, a lot of experience, and essentially they had spring ball last year. They got to play 5 more games than everybody else, and that's 5 more practices for their freshmen and 5 more chances to get 5 weeks more to get better. So they're a very seasoned team, a very talented team. And posed us a lot of issues. Now, we didn't game plan at all for it. We just wanted to kind of play football and run around, and we worked on the things that we needed to work on. We didn't give ourselves a chance defensively a lot of times just because we were trying to see personnel come off the ball and play and didn't really worry schematically what happened. Offensively, we just kind of did what we did, called everything at the line, and moved the ball exceptionally well. So it was a great scrimmage because you knew you're going to get a very well-coached team, a very disciplined team, and a team that could exploit your weaknesses, which taught us as a staff and our kids a lot of things.
A lot of the summer there was a lot of uncertainty about the football season. Then a couple weeks ago we got the green light. What was it like to finally get that green light and know that we're going to get a week 1 and now it's a reality and you guys can really go prepare for West Branch?
Well, I tell you, we prepared for this at the onset last year back in March. We had things set up for our kids to continue to get better, and they worked diligently all the way through the quarantine or the time away, however you want to look at it. And then they started doing things on their own when the weather broke. And then when we got together June 1st, man, we didn't skip a beat. We were right into it. And again, they've been so excited to play. They've worked so hard because they understand how lucky they are to have a season. But, we knew there was going to be a green light all along because it's the right thing to do. And if you base everything you do on the right things happening, we never doubted it for a minute because you're playing football and having these kids engaged and doing something positive with each other. That's the best thing that can happen for them at this time.
Ron Johnson, the head football coach of the Salem Quakers, joining us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. Coach, one of the great things about football program is if you have a really nice weightlifting area. And look, I've been at Salem, and I've broadcast my share of basketball games in your makeshift weight room in the second floor of your gymnasium. I mean to tell you, that is a very, very good and impressive weight room that you guys have in Salem.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Ron. It is. We've had a great commitment from our administration. Our kids take unbelievable care of it because they know how nice it is. And if we're going to spend as much time up there as we do, we're going to make sure it's someplace they want to come. We really had the momentum going this year. We won our 4th straight Columbiana Power Meet, and then the next week, we're sent away. So we had a lot of momentum coming out of the winter with that Power Meet and stuff. So our kids really stayed engaged in lifting, but the facility is phenomenal. We can accommodate 66 guys up there, at one time, all together and with no downtime. So it's a great facility, and we're very fortunate to have it.
Us over here at YSN, we've been so proud to have Salem since the beginning. They're one of our original 4 schools. What is it for you about Salem that's so special and makes you so proud to kind of represent them every Friday night and be a part of their program?
Well, I tell you, the folks here have their priorities straight. They're not unrealistic in their expectations, but they hold you highly accountable and have high expectations. When you can work in that environment and the kids can play in that environment, and as long as they give great effort and they're sound in what they do and they take it seriously and play hard, it's accepted. Like I said, there is no unreasonable expectations, and we put a lot of pressure on ourselves, but that's how people become successful. And you look at the town of Salem, the people of Salem, and we've got some great examples to follow, and our leadership is they've worked hard to put themselves in position to be successful. So it's great for role modeling, and it's great that our kids have the support that they do, and the expectations are set the way that they are.
Coach, you're an old school football guy. You love the fact that your football players can do some wrestling in the off season, and I bring that up because Salem has a very good wrestling program. How many of your kids took advantage of wrestling in the winter time up until the point where we canceled everything?
Just about all of the weight classes are filled. The upper weight classes from about 135 up are filled with football players. We encourage our guys to do that. We probably have about 15 to 18 guys that are on the wrestling team. Then our junior high is almost, all football players. They do a great job down there with the young kids, and we want them to do anything: basketball, baseball, track. We just want them to compete. You know, you have to work at becoming a competitor. You have to learn how to compete and how to be successful and find a ways and realize there's a winner and a loser every time, and you got to treat them both the same. And I just like our kids to compete and find a way to be successful.
In the same aspect, I mean, you probably coached a lot of kids that have decided to be multiple sport athletes. What does it do for not just, like you said, keeping them in shape, but also just for their, mental capacity to keep them engaged and keep them focused on, something other than what their life is, outside of sports? How important is that for kids to kind of stay in sports and do multiple sports if they want to?
Well, we're all creatures of habit, and when we have regimentation, it's a good thing. As coaches, we're responsible for breaking the monotony of it, but to have them regimented and to have a program is very important. I mean, we're a 365-day-a-year program. Our kids will lift all year. We lift at 6 a.m., so even if they're involved in another sport, we help out those sports because we take care of the physical fitness and the strength training before school even starts. Then they can just have practice and concentrate on that. So the regimentation of our guys, being engaged all winter at 6 a.m. and being here and then having the freedom to play the other sports, is big. But, idle time is a devil's playground. We've all heard that. So we want to work hard at keeping our kids involved in something positive and representing Salem in each of those because they know the responsibility that goes with that.
You spoke about 10 minutes ago of your sophomore class that has done nothing but win ever since they hit into junior high. Talk a little bit about that class and your expectations for that class moving forward.
Well, we have a class of 17 guys in the sophomore class, and what makes them unique is they're willing to lead. They're willing to jump in and set the example and lead, but they're also smart enough and humble enough to look at the old upperclassmen that are above them and learn from them. It's just a great, chemistry between them and the upperclassmen and the reliance that each group has on the other. I mean, we have really good team chemistry, really good atmosphere, and all of our kids are willing to lead, and more importantly, they're willing to follow.
Hey, Coach, best of luck to you as you open up the season against a familiar foe. It seems like you played them not too long ago in West Branch, and look forward to seeing you guys this year, and look forward to the many intricacies, there we go, of your offense, because I know your offense, when it's on, it's a thing of beauty.
Well, thank you very much, and our kids are working really hard to make that happen.
All right, Coach, all the best to you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
You got it. There he is, the head football coach of the Salem Quakers, Ron Johnson. Intricacies. Jesus, Ron, come on.
I like the point when he talked about Springfield, and he brought up the point that they got to play 5 more games, and they got 5 more practices with their inexperienced players, their freshmen. No one talks about how important that is to building a program.
Oh, it's huge.
And getting more experience for the younger kids. And that's so true.
Listen, I mean, you're going to start your off-season weightlifting program around that time. Okay, that's great. You're building some camaraderie. You're getting kids in the weight room. They're getting stronger. But if any coach, if you ask them, hey, do you want to start your off-season weightlifting program, or do you guys want 5 more weeks worth of football practice and 5 more games? I mean, that's not even a contest. Of course, you're going to want the reps and the practice and the games. I mean, the freshman class, the kids that are now sophomores, they played a season and a half worth of football. Instead of 1 season, they're now halfway through their sophomore year, if you want to look at it that way. They have more veterans on that team now because they played an extra half a season. And that's, I'm with you, Anthony. That is so incredibly important if you're a high school football program and you're trying to build a statewide state powerhouse, and you want to consistently have deep runs in the playoffs. When you have the Crestviews and the South Ranges and the Springfields and the Polands and the Hardings and the name some other teams, Canfield, that consistently get into the postseason, and if they're playing 2, 3, 4, sometimes 5 weeks, your underclassmen just got that much more experience.
Yeah, and it's not, there's a difference between they say there's not, but there's a difference between the playoff practices and the regular season practices. I mean, the intensity has gone up, the focus has gone up. So to have those practices and be able to experience those as a freshman, you can't replace it. And Poland's in that situation too because they went to the state playoffs.
Absolutely.
So I mean, those guys at Poland, they're going to be a very veteran team, even their sophomores.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you went to the playoffs last year and, say you went 2 or 3 weeks in, okay, you just went 30%. If you went 3 weeks in, you got 30% more of your football season than most of the teams in the Mahoning Valley. I mean, that's huge.
That's another reason why I think it's important, whether you win the playoffs this year or not, if you're able to schedule games later, take advantage of that, because not only will that give your seniors an extra game and give them that moment, it's going to give the rest of your team more experience for next season. So why wouldn't you take advantage of that if the OHSA is saying, hey, even after you lose in the playoffs, you can play more games? Why wouldn't you take advantage of that?
Yeah, unless you're already at 10 games.
Right,
If you have 6 games and then you get to the state
But at that
semifinals,
point,
it wouldn't even be the state semifinals because it's a 8-week process. Now you'd be halfway through. But the point is well taken. Now, we had John Mang on, who is the signer for the officials, and he brought up a really, really good point and something that I think bears repeating. A lot of our officials normally get the call to go to the state playoffs, and the OHSAA, and I don't want to bag on them, but this is the truth, and it's my opinion, and I think that my opinion is right in this matter. Instead of sending a whole crew where you have familiarity and everyone knows the strengths and weaknesses of each of the referees, they're sending certain referees and they join other guys that have experience, but they've never had experience with each other. So now you have an officiating crew that does not know each other's strengths and weaknesses. There is no cohesiveness whatsoever. They're a mishmash of people being brought in. I understand that they're the best of, but it's still a mishmash instead of sending a whole crew. Now, the point of this is because there are going to be some people, some referees that are going to go into the playoffs, now the pool starting in week number 8 is going to be very small because there's already a shortage of officials for football. So we may not have a lot of games for those teams that are out of the playoffs and looking to finish a 10-game season.
Or you might have to do a game with 3 referees or something like that, where like the games itself aren't exactly, they matter. You want to go out and still win, but they're not going towards your playoff record or anything like that. So I think maybe a game with 3 refs might be happening in the late weeks.
Man, you're asking for an awful lot. What do you have? A referee, an umpire, and a side judge?
Right.
And the referee would be on the line. Right. So
you just have to kind of roll with it and try to adapt.
Yeah, because
better than not having a game.
Yeah, because normally on an officiating the 5-team crew, you got your referee, umpire, line judge, side judge, back judge.
And at that point in the season, are you really going to get mad if someone blows the call in week 8?
I would hope not.
You've already lost your playoff game.
Yeah, I would hope not. I mean, you
need to just be happy that you're out there, you're playing football, and you're getting your kids' experience, like we said.
I will be very surprised if there are more than a handful of teams that are willing to play once they're eliminated from the playoffs. And I don't say that because of we just don't want to play football. I think that if we are going to have the flu coming in with the same time with Corona, and it might get a little bit ugly, I think that there might be some programs that say, you know what, okay, we're going to play as long as we can, and once we're eliminated in the playoffs, we're just going to shut it down. I might be wrong on that. I don't have an exact science. So
I think most teams, especially if they have the roster and they haven't been bruised and battered all season, I think if they can play and if there's the officials to do it and they get the all clear, then I think they'll do it. I mean, I don't think there's a reason not to. If they get the green light and they say your kids are still healthy, go play,
MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline is open, 330-886-0813. We're going to take a timeout. On the other side, we're going to go through the YSN pay-per-view era. Yes, we have pay-per-view, and we'll get into the particulars and what you need to do if you're not going to be going to a high school game this weekend and you want to see a team play. We have the particulars for how you can go about doing this and, well, actually having some getting some money back to your favorite team's athletic department. We'll talk about that. It's coming up next. It is a Wednesday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com.
The details. Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods is one fine ride. Perfect cornering, superb handling, sporty and stylish, power to spare, plus awesome mileage. Yeah, jaw-droppingly beautiful lines and well appointed with luxurious trim. Put more oomph in your life and start beholding the molding. Find your home's fine hardwood at BairdBrothers.com.
Storm season.
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air.
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
Online.
All right, let's talk high-risk futurecast and the timing of this weather.
On social media and on our app.
Stay in the showers. I'm keeping my eye on in parts of Columbiana County.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
The severe weather threat now through around sunset this evening.
Hi everyone, this is DJ Yoakley with Your Sports Network. We appreciate your support of YSN and welcome you to the YSN family. Our broadcast streams are brought to you live at no cost to you by sponsors that are local to this community. Without the vision and generosity of our sponsors and partners, we would not be able to bring this game to you today. So please support the great businesses and leaders that are making this game possible. And if you're a business in need of great advertising and sponsorship opportunities, feel free to head over to our site for more information on the right fit for you. We are local, we are loyal, and we are live. We are YSN.
It is a Wednesday edition of Running Points on ysnlive.com. Ron Potesta with you alongside Anthony Hartwig. The MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline open, 330-886-0813. All right, tomorrow we start a new era of high school football and a new era of ways to watch a high school football game. The OHSAA has given everyone permission to use video, and you can go live anytime you want to, so we're taking advantage of it. And in the corona world in which we live in, where only 15% of the stadium, 15% or 1,500, whichever number is, whichever number, you can't go any further than 1,500, a lot of fans are going to be left on the outside looking in, hence the reason for you fans to jump on ysnlive.com and take advantage of our pay-per-view. Anthony, let everyone know what's going on there.
So for pay-per-view, you go to ysnlive.com, go to the high schools tab, find your high school, whether it be any of the high schools on this board, or whatever it may be. If they play on Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, find it, and then you'll enter your credit card information, and you'll pay, and you'll hit play, and you'll be good to go. And we're going to be releasing a video today that'll break down just step-by-step instructions on how to do it, what you'll be asked to do, and everything like that. So you'll have a clear and concise guide to getting your game set, and we're also offering the pre-sale so you can get your game ticket today and then be good to go tomorrow. Those pre-sales will be a day before the game, so tomorrow the pre-sales for Friday night game will go up. So
$9.99, $2.50 will go to the team's athletic department. So if you're a let's say you're a Palestine fan, and East Palestine is going to be playing in week number 1. And they're going to be playing Valley Christian on Saturday nights. And you decide, well, I can't go to the game because I don't have a ticket, and Campbell's seating is such where there's only going to be so many people that are going to go. If you want to watch East Palestine and Valley Christian on Saturday night, you simply go to ysnlive.com, go to schools, hit the schools. The drop box is going to take place. Go to East Palestine, click on that, and then you'll sign up using your credit card. Now, this is important. If you are using whatever device you use, you are going to be watching that game from that device. Right. So my suggestion, if you have an iPad or a device that has a large screen, you'll want to use that. So
now, that does mean that if you can connect that device to your TV, you'll be able to do that. But the point is, you can't buy it on your laptop and then go and try to watch it on your iPad. You have to, use the device that you buy it on. So if you do have an Apple TV, you'll be able to buy it on your iPad and put it on your TV, things like that. But you can't buy it on your HP laptop and then go and say, I'm going to watch it on the second half of my iPad because I have to, go work in the yard or whatever it may be. So make sure whatever device you're going to buy it on is the device you're going to be with all night.
The other thing that I would let everyone know, this is not a $9.99 per person deal. If you get this pay-per-view, let's say you want to watch Crestview take on Champion up in Champion on Friday night, and whether you're a fan of the Golden Flashes or you're a fan of the Rebels, you would go to ysnlive.com, click on schools, Dropbox falls. You either pick Crestview or Champion, whichever team that you have a rooting interest with.
Because they're both broadcasts are going to be exactly the same. So there's not going to be you're going to be in Champion for that game.
Yes.
There's not going to be a Crestview broadcast and a Champion broadcast. It's just the same broadcast simulcast on both channels. So whichever one you click on, you're going to get the same broadcast.
Now the thing is, this is not one person equals $9.99. No, if you do this, and let's say you have an iPad and you want to. You want to watch the game with 3 or 4 other people. Absolutely. You can do it. No two ways about it. All right, let's get to the phone lines. Emmanuel, you're on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline. What's going on, Emmanuel?
Well, first of all, how you guys doing?
I'm good. Doing good.
Well, you didn't look too good in your 40-yard dash, but that's another story.
Well, listen. This was Old Man Meets Frankenstein, and it was ugly. There's no two ways about it, brother. No two ways about it.
I love you. But a couple of things. Your guest, not only is he a great coach, he's a great man.
Yes, he is.
And he can, anytime you get young men, our future, to run through a brick wall for you, you're doing something right.
Yeah.
And as far as Salem go, I'm a dinosaur. There was a time back with Ohio 8 with Salem, they wasn't no joke.
Yeah.
So they have a history in Salem. But I wanted to talk to you first of all because I haven't talked to you in a while.
This is
shout out to Sebring. They're making the playoffs for the first time in the history, and they're the last one, right?
Yep, that's it. They were the only team that had not gone into the playoffs since the playoffs began in 1972.
Now, with that being said, people say I look at things different. Now, you're a head coach. Everybody's making the playoffs. Do you gear your team towards winning the playoffs, or do you try to win every game? You know what I mean? How do you take the regular season? Because everybody, because I love me some Coach Laricka. You know how Coach Laricka felt. He played anybody. He played Harlem Globetrotters, because he going to the tournament, right?
Sure,
so what would you do?
Well, look, I would load up my schedule. and that's just me because
this year it's conference only. So you're stuck with
exactly. But if under normal circumstances, if everyone was invited to the playoffs, and we see this in basketball and all sports actually, other than football, I would load my schedule up and say, come one, come all, we will take on any comers, because I am a firm believer, and you've heard me say this for a long, long time, Emmanuel, I am a firm believer that the more competition you play, the better your team is going to be come tournament time. So for these teams, they're pigeonholed in that you got to play your conference. Now, I know in the All-American, or the former All-American Conference, the now MVAC gray tier, the conference that has Crestview and Champion and Liberty, Brookfield, LeBray, Camel, and Brookfield, they all get an opportunity to play one non-conference game. But you know, I would play as many difficult teams on my schedule as possible to get ready for the playoffs.
Well, if you're playing that many games, well, you have a goal. You want to win the conference championship. But what I'm saying is, we're only playing, like, a lot of teams only playing 6 games, right?
Yeah. All of them are only going to play 6 games.
Okay, so you're only playing 6 games. You can go 0-6 and lose by 42-0 every game and still win a championship. If, you know, like the wild card team gets in, if you get hot when the playoffs start, would you rather be hotter when the playoffs start or go undefeated at 6-0?
Oh, listen, 6-0 and getting bounced in the first round. Okay, congratulations on your undefeated season, but you got bounced in the first round. I'll gladly take an Ursuline. If you remember, in the mid-'90s, they went 10-10 and got hot in the playoffs and won a state championship. I'll gladly take South Range a few years ago when they got hot, finished the baseball season under 500, and got hot in the tournaments and went on and won a state championship. So give me a team that gets hot and goes on a long tournament run any day of the week.
Well, you just described JFK over here in Warren.
Yeah.
But I got you locked in. You're looking pretty good, and you have a great co-host. I'll talk to you again, man. Much love to you and your family, okay?
Hey, I appreciate it. Appreciate it, Emmanuel. 330-886-0813. The MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline open. I was hoping that Emmanuel would call in sooner or later. I mean, he's a Yankee. He's a Yankee fan, and I'm surprised he hasn't busted my balls about that.
Well, they're struggling right now. They're in a little bit of a skid, so maybe the Yankee fans are being kind of quiet right now.
By the way, what I thought was going to happen happens. Mike Clevenger is going to get the start tonight.
And do you think that had anything to do with the Indians dropping Game 1 on Monday?
Absolutely, it did.
Yeah.
There's no two ways about it. If you lose Game 1, now you're forced to pitch the best pitcher available in Game number 3.
I said it'd be a difficult decision if they won the first 2 to bring Clevenger up in Game 3, because you want that one, but you don't need it.
You don't need it. I thought
now you definitely need that win.
I thought that Chris Antonetti said a very interesting message to Zach Plesac. Chris Antonetti was quoted as saying, we don't have any room on our major league starting rotation for Zach Plesac at this time. And I'm looking at this going, the hell you don't. Okay, listen, Tristan McKenzie was fantastic and he deserves a second chance. There's no two ways about that. But right now, you got dog crap in the back of your rotation named Adam Plutko, who's not a starter. He is a relief pitcher. Don't piss down my leg and tell me it's raining, okay? Because that's what you're doing right now. Listen, this is no secret. They're doing this because they're wanting to punish Plesac, number one. Number two, more importantly, they're doing this because the longer he's down there, his service time is going to go back another year, where the Indians will get one more year of service with Plutko. That's what's going on. And by the way, and I said this yesterday, and I'll say it today, and I'll say it until he is traded, this will be Mike Clevenger's last start with the Cleveland Indians.
Last start.
This is his last start.
You think this is a complete show?
This is
like a, hey, here's what we got.
This is what we got.
What if he tanks this start? What if he doesn't do well?
I think that there's still going to be a number of teams that are going to look at him because he's a proven commodity.
Yeah.
And look, The Atlanta Braves desperately need a starting pitcher. The New York Yankees desperately need a starting pitcher.
You know, he's a proven commodity. So do you need this start to trade him? I mean, if that was the case,
no,
do you need it?
No, but I mean, let's be honest. That's completely secondary. We need Clevenger, and I'm going to say we because I don't have a mouse in my pocket. I'm saying we because I'm an Indians fan. The Indians need Clevenger because they need to win this series. And he brings the best opportunity to win the series. It's sure as hell. If I had my choice between Plutko and Clevenger, this is not really a competition.
It's so out of scale. Your hand would go through the table.
Yeah, exactly. This hand would go through the wood, through the floor, and down into China somewhere, or as President Trump would say, China. This is huge. This is a huge start. You know, this decision was, it is what it is. Look, Clevenger is the right call. Now, my thing, and I'm waiting for someone to put a microphone in Oliver Perez's face so he can sit back and say, deuces, I'm out of here.
He's going to either say, I made a mistake, I spoke out of anger, or he's
going to actually do what he promised.
And if experience is anything, most players in the MLB, he'll probably backstep and say, I just spoke out of anger, I didn't mean it. I'm going to stay on the team.
Yeah, he's gonna ultimately be like the person come election time, before election, whatever election. I mean, this year you'll have the same people doing the same thing, and that's when if my guy loses, I'm moving out of this country.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
How many people moved?
Yeah, how many people moved when Trump won in 2016?
Not a whole lot.
Yeah, exactly. So stop with those empty promises. That's just ridiculous.
And if Oliver Perez, if that's his prerogative, then the Indians have to be like deuces because he pitches once every 5 games. He's not a key member of their bullpen.
Well, he kind of is because he retires left-handed batters like nobody's business.
Okay, but at the same time, Clevenger's worth a lot more than that. So
he is,
if
but
he's the only casualty and he's the only person that's saying that, then Indians just have to be like, hey,
and the other thing that I will be curious, perhaps someone said, hey, Oliver, you don't want to leave because this will be the last time you see Clevenger in an Indians uniform. We're planning on trading him. I don't think anyone would get into his grill and say and talk company business to him because he's an employee. It's none of his business, and he shouldn't have that privy information to him.
And then be like DJ coming on to me and be like, hey, Ron's gone.
Yeah, Ron's leaving. So you don't want to not be a part of Running Point because Ron's going to be leaving anyway. So yeah. Breaking news. Now we're going to hear all these people go, oh my God, Potesta's leaving. What's going on here? Yeah, no, it was an example. It was just an example. See the crap that you're trying to stir up with that? Good Lord! Now people heard that and then people are like. No, I ain't going anywhere. No. I feel like I got to answer all kinds of questions now that you just did that. Good Lord. All right.
Welcome back, Anthony.
Yeah, welcome back, Anthony. Let's
you miss me?
Let's get that bus driving and go back over me now. Hey, stick around. We're going to talk some golf. Brian Tolnar from Mill Creek is coming up in a bit. Jason Kokrak is in the top 70. Thanks to a fantastic performance. Now, wasn't 30 under like Dustin Johnson, but he gets into the Bmw Championship, and we'll talk about that with Brian Tolnar. It's coming up in a bit. It's a Wednesday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com.
Baird Brothers remains your source for fine hardwood products. For the time being, we're open for customer pickup only on weekdays, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., and Saturday from 9 a.m. till noon. Place your order online at BairdBrothers.com. Baird Brothers, for the place you love.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. we keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
The 4M Company, being an architect and construction manager for over 40 years, has had the opportunity to use many different electrical businesses for our projects. The depth, quality, and knowledge and attention to detail displayed by Dickey Electric makes them stand out above all the rest.
For state-of-the-art expertise and a timeless commitment to our customers, contact Joe Dickey Electric. We are everything electrical.
I'm feeling pretty good about myself, like I'm living the dream. Platform shoes, strut down the street. It's gonna get hot in here, hope you can handle the heat.
Over the years, you watched us grow, and as we've grown, so has the Myers Family Insurance team.
Thanks to all of you who have trusted our families to help you with your Medicare needs.
Myers Family Insurance looks forward to helping you now for years to come. So call our family today and remind them how cute we are.
Myers Family Insurance continues to be the area's resource for all your Medicare and retirement needs. Call today, 330-286-3044.
It's a Wednesday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com. Ron Potesta with you alongside the man that runs me over every time he opens his mouth, Anthony Hardwig. He's got the bus all started up, and now he's starting rumors. My God. Let's go to the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline, where we find our guy, Mr. Tolnar, Brian Tolnar from Mill Creek, joining us as we talk some golf. Brian, how are you today, sir?
Doing great. If you're looking to leave, we've got some openings. You could put you behind the counter in the pro shop.
Well, I appreciate that.
Going back to school.
Yeah, okay. Now, listen to this. You serve it. He hits it with a 5-wood. That's nice. That's just, yeah, that's lovely. Hey, you showed off your beautiful cart paths on Twitter a couple of days ago. My goodness, are these cart paths absolutely gorgeous, Brian?
Boy, I'll tell you what, the guys are doing a really good job. They've got probably another day and a half left to go here. If the rain holds off the rest of this afternoon, we'll get a majority of them done, and then back tomorrow morning, and hopefully done by about 3:30 tomorrow. But those guys are moving extremely quick. They look very good. They're smooth to ride on, and we're just on the base coat. We've got one more smoother coat to go over those. We'll paint the yardage markers on those probably early next week, and then we'll be off and running ready for the fall. But major improvement for the golf course, not only from a user standpoint, but from, just the aesthetics of it. Looking out there, it looks like the whole property is brand new. So we're certainly excited.
Well, and it's certainly going to add some life to the grass as well. I mean, now you can. You don't want to be a Nazi about telling your golfers to stay on the golf cart path, but if they stay on the cart path and not put the carts on the grass, it's going to have less beating for your grass, which your grass is in fantastic shape, considering we're about 4 inches, 5 inches below normal rain-wise. You guys have continued to have those fairways look absolutely gorgeous.
We are. The superintendent and his staff have done a remarkable job, dealing with the heat and the heat stress that happens to the turf. I think, for the most part, they've done a wonderful job on, just basically making sure that everything stays green. The conditions of the green are running smooth and fast. The cart paths are going to certainly accelerate some opportunity to continue on as we go towards the fall. And if we do get that rain, you're going to get it sometime. It's just a matter of what month is it coming. So if we do have a wet fall or late fall, we'll have the opportunity to continue golf by keeping people on the cart paths, which will be probably broken in by September, October. So we're excited about that. We're excited, condition-wise, where we're at. Probably the best conditions we've been in since I've been playing golf and in my lifetime. And I've told our superintendent and his staff that, and they just do a remarkable job with what they've got to work with. And staying within budget and giving our golfers in Mahoning Valley a gem to play on.
High school golf still going full swing. What kind of things have you seen in the last week from these high school golfers?
Well, we just wrapped up the Cardinal Classic on Saturday for us at Mill Creek. Boardman High School ended up winning that event. This is the second time they've won it in the 6 years that I've been here. They just held off South Range, who they basically both tied for first. And what they do in the invitationals are you take your low four scores, that's your team total, and they'll go to that fifth guy's score. And the Boardman player just edged out the player from South Range. So both of them teams played well, and obviously being in the home course for both of those teams, it certainly gave them a little bit of advantage on the field of about 16 teams that came from the region. We've had a couple teams from North Canton, St. Vincent, St. Mary from Akron. So, I mean, it was a well-rounded field. Canton Hoover, you name it. We've had a pretty solid start to the season for high school golf. We had some tri-matches last night with Ursuline and Poland. Hubbard was over here, South Range. So, I mean, it's been a lot of activity going on, and we're excited to be able to host as many teams and to be able to benefit some of these area schools with a venue to play in.
Brian Tolnar, our guest on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. Brian, when was the last time you have ever seen someone completely tear up a golf course like Dustin Johnson did over the weekend? 30 under par, that is absolutely ridiculous.
It was. I got to watch some of it on Saturday and the latter part of it on Sunday. He was just firing on every cylinder every single day of the tournament, and it was almost laughable going into the weekend. We just had such an advantage, and that's with guys shooting. Scotty Scheffler shoots 59 in the Thursday round. So, I mean, you had some guys throwing some really good scores at him, but he was just, the pedal was down all week, and it was kind of a question mark with Dustin to begin with, because if you think of 4 weeks ago, he shoots 80-80 to miss the cut. The following week, he plays one round and withdraws because he wasn't playing well, and all of a sudden he's found it, and the pedal's down, and he really just torched the field and put himself in really good rankings for the Fedex Cup, moving up to 1, and bounces Justin Thomas down to 2. But I mean, what a great year he's had. I mean, he's won twice this year. He's had 5 top 10s, 7 top 25s, and that's with some hiccups in the middle of it. So it could have been a lot better, but I mean, he's peaking at the right time, and you certainly want to be doing your best as you're into these FedEx Cup playoffs, because there's so much money on the line, not only week to week, but at the end they pay based on where you finish your final rank.
How about poor Scotty? He shoots a 59, which was I believe a record-breaking round at that course, and then he turns around and Dustin Johnson does almost the same thing, shoots a 60, and then continues his onslaught through the weekend.
That's what I mean. I mean, you've got guys throwing that good of numbers up against you, and you're still putting the pedal down to shoot 61, 64. I think he shoots 67, 64 over the weekend. So, I mean, it's just unbelievable how well he played. I think he was one shot back from the all-time record, I think at 31 under. He finished at 30, but, I mean, great week. He drove the ball extremely well. Not only did he drive it well, he drove it extremely long off the tee. So he was accurate, and he hit it 9 miles off the tee, which – at that golf course, with the fairways being as wide and forgiving as they were, like we talked about earlier last week, they're high risk, high reward, and he just took the high risk route and shredded the golf course up with a bunch of eagles. And when you're knocking in 40 footers for birdie and eagle here and there, you've got it rolling pretty good. We're
talking with Brian Tolnar. He runs Mill Creek, and he's our golf guru, and he joins us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. Brian, we shift to the Bmw Championship, Olympia Fields Country Club in Olympia Fields, Illinois. Give us a scouting report on the Olympia Fields Country Club.
Well, what's nice about the Bmw Championship is they go to a different venue, part of these FedEx Cup playoffs, as they rotate through 3 different venues between here and the Atlantic Athletic Club for the next one for the Tour Championship. 3 very different tests of golf. Last week, very wide and generous fairways. Rough was relatively low up in the Boston area. As they get into Olympia Fields, much different story this week. You're going to have a golf course that has a lot of fairways that are extremely narrow. They're going to play a little bit firm and fast. Tiger, if you looked at his press conference earlier in the week. He said it's really set up like a U.S. Open, and if history repeats itself, the scores aren't going to be quite as high this week as they were last week. So I'm thinking probably 10 to 12 under is going to win it this week, but there's going to be a high premium on driving it. Not necessarily the farthest, although you want to be able to hit it like Dustin did last week. That would be the ideal scenario. But I think from the course setup, it's just not going to allow you to do that because the rough is going to be so much more severe and penalizing. So the accuracy off the tee is going to be the first thing of importance, and then how well and how good you can hit your iron shots into these greens are going to really dictate how many birdie opportunities that you have, because the rough around the greens is going to be a lot higher than it was last week. The conditions are firm and fast, and as the week carries out, if they dodge any of the weather that's going on right now, it's going to continue to get firmer, and the rough's going to continue to get deeper because they're not going to cut it throughout the course of the week. So it's going to be very different than last week's event in Boston, where the fairways were wide and the greens were generous. But what a true test of golf. So it's going to really put a premium on iron play, accuracy off the tee, which will benefit a couple of the players in the field. But it's always nice to see the venues such as this come into the mix, because you're going to get a true champion. You've got to be able to play well on the top venues on the PGA Tour, and all three of these will give you, the best player when it's all said and done. So it's exciting. As hole by hole at the golf course, I mean, you look at the first hole right out of the gate, 626-yard par 5. One of two par 5s on the entire property. It's a par 70 this week. A little over 7,300 yards, almost 7,400 yards. The first hole out of the gate's a 3-shot par 5. About maybe 5% of the field will take a shot at trying to hit it 2. All the par 4s are lengthy. They're all 400 yards except for one, the 12th hole that measures in at 389. Some very lengthy par 3s to go along with the long par 4s. Number 8's 247 yards. The last time anybody's seen a 247-yard, par 3, I can't even think of one. I mean, so these guys are going to hit a lot of long irons, maybe even some hybrids with the shorter players in the field. But it's really a matter of who can take advantage of the 2 par 5s, number 1 out of the gate, and number 15, which is the second of the par 5s, another lengthy hole. But this one, about half the field can get to in 2, so it'll be more in play. And then you're going to close it out on almost a 500-yard par 4, which is no layup when you're trying to close out a tournament at 496 yards. So, it's gonna really challenge these players this week, and I don't think you're going to see 30 under. I'd be shocked if you see, probably 15 or 16 under, just in the way that they have the golf course set up and just how it plays. But, if you look at the course slope and rating, it's got a slope rating of 150, and that's just a combination of how much water, how much heavy rough, how wide are the fairways, how many bunkers come into play, and a course rating of 76.6. So that means if I'm a 10 handicap golfer and I put my 10 handicap up against the course rating, I'm going to shoot 86 or 87 on this golf course. So that's just how tough this facility is, which is a lot different than what we saw at the event in Boston over the weekend.
Brian, you are the person we turn to for knowledge on the Fedex Cup. So who are some players that maybe dropped down last week that need a really good round this weekend? And who are some players that made some big jumps? And give us a Fedex Cup update going into week 2.
Well, we'll start with the top 10 real quick. Dustin Johnson obviously jumps Justin Thomas. So, Justin Thomas in the 2, who's led the FedEx Cup all year. He's still in there, still been steady. Justin Johnson, despite being up and down for a couple weeks here and there, he's really firing lights out right now. So I expect him to continue his play, although it's hard to back up a really good week on tour the following week, so we'll see what he does. Coming in at 3 is Webb Simpson. Number 4 is Daniel Berger, who's, very quietly gets it done on the PGA Tour. He has 1 win. He's got 7 top 10s, just really kind of under the radar. Colin Morikawa, who we saw win the PGA Championship, his first major and his first PGA Tour win a few weeks back. Coming in at 6 is Harris English, the only player in the top 10 without a win this year. Although he's got 6 top 10s, he's got 0 wins and 13 top 25s. So he's, pretty steady, but just never really jumps into that winner circle. Bryson D'shambo has been in that 2 or 3 spot pretty much all year. He moves down to number 7. I think this is a golf course, going into this week will favor his game based on some past history. Sunjay M comes in at 8. And then John Rahm and Patrick Reed, who really, if you look at their seasons and their stats, have really had about the same year. They both had a win on the tour. They both have 6 or 7 top 10s, and they've got a number of top 25. So it's really, the same golfer, but two different names on how they've done their season. So I think that they've done, good enough to stay in that top 10. Obviously, you want to be in that top 5 going into the Tour Championship because you really control your own destiny. But top 10 is the next tier. And I think, as the players we just went over, I think they all really have a legitimate shot in making a run this week and next week. Rory Mcilroy coming in at 12, I thought he had a great week. Scotty Scheffler, obviously shooting 59, really jumps you up. His tournament performance from start to finish, I thought was good. He moves into the 14th spot. And a couple other players that, coming close to that top 30, because as we go into this event, we've got the 70 greatest golfers left, and we're going to move and transition those into the top 30. So these guys at the end of the list, they made some good moves to get in to where they have to be. Ryan Palmer was one of those guys that moved up the list. I think he's playing well. And you look at 28, 29, and 30. You've got Kevin Streelman, who's can make a bunch of birdies, and one of those players that can get hot. Tony Finau at 29, had a great early part of the season, but's been up and down since then. And Billy Horschel, a Fedex Cup champion, comes in at 30, rounds out our top 30 this week. I think he is in pretty good shape from where he started and where he left himself. Ryan Palmer, moves up to 22, and he moves up 7 spots. A couple guys that did okay to make the top 70 that need some help. You go down to 57, 58. You got Tiger Woods and Bubba Watson. Certainly, Tiger had a great week, got himself into that top 70. Certainly needs to get into the top 5 this week to make that top 30 number. Bubba Watson, same thing. He really needs to duplicate the week that he had. And they're also going to need some help by those top 30 players that may take a step back. But, Kokrak's another one of those guys. He had a great finish this past week. Probably needs a top 5 coming in 66. So he just made the 70 number, which is what we thought he was going to do this past week. He gets a top 5. I think he's there. He's going to be pretty darn close. If he gets a top 10, he's certainly going to need a lot of help from the guys in the top 30 to shift around. But it certainly can be done. I think Jason Day, and Matt Kuchar probably made a case to get into the 70. They're going to have another solid week as well. But, this is the chips are down now, and you really have to perform to get in that top 30. To see a guy move up, 25 slots without winning the event is going to be tough.
Brian, before we get into your top 5, Kokrak, for him, and he's already qualified for this year's Masters, for him to qualify next year's Masters, what kind of a finish does Kokrak need this week?
Well, I think certainly if he makes the cut, it's water under the bridge, but I think he needs probably a top 20, top 25, somewhere in there to consistently stay where he needs to be in FedEx Cup points going into the next cycle. And I think there's plenty of time for him to do that. And there's obviously with some of the majors up there, if he does well at the U.S. Open that's coming up, or the Masters, or, some of the latter part of the events that are coming up, I think he puts himself and gives himself some cushion. But I think, having a good week in these 3 weeks, if he can make it to week 3, will be a huge advantage for him, going forward, getting into the majors, getting into some of those WGC events, and then getting into some of those invitational events where you gain some extra points.
All right, let's get your top 5 for this, the Bmw Championship from beautiful Olympia Fields Country Club in Olympia Fields, Illinois.
We're going to start off with number 1, Bryson D'shambo. His stock is rising. I think it's because he's won a U.S. amateur event there. He plays well in U.S. Open type venues, which means he's a really good and mid-iron player. And I think you're going to have that to win this week. I think he's going to bounce back with a win here or a top 2 or 3 finish based on where he wants to get himself in position going into that Tour Championship. Justin Thomas comes in at number 2. He's just hanging around. Did what he needed to do last week. Obviously, he got jumped by a scorching Dustin Johnson, and how he tore up and made the bazillion birdies this past weekend. He really is already in the Tour Championship, being in that top 5. He's really got nothing to lose. I could see him taking it a little bit more aggressive approach this week. Last week we talked about if you're in the top 5, you want to play conservatively. If you're in the top 5 after this week, you're going to make it into that top 30 field. So these guys will be a little bit more aggressive as they come out of the gate this week, and I think he's going to be one of those players. Coming in at number 3 is Webb Simpson. Mr. Steady Eddie, with a scoring average of 68 all year. He's won several times this year, knows what it takes to win, and knows what it takes to win on a U.S. Open setup. He's got a U.S. Open victory under his belt. He drives it very accurately. May not be the longest player on tour, but he hits a lot of fairways, and that's a premium this week. And I think if he hits a lot of fairways, he's going to give himself a lot of opportunities to hit green. A player that we really haven't talked about much other than being on a sleeper watch all year has been Rory Mcilroy. His driving and his putter have been a struggle for the most part of the year. I like what I saw last week with him. I think he's more so back to normal, and the more that he plays in consecutive weeks, the tendency is he's going to get better week in and week out. I think he's been there and done that before, especially when it comes to the Fedex Cup. He's won and knows what it takes to win a Fedex Cup. I expect him to be in the mix. Kind of an oddity at 5 is Abraham Answer, number 19 on the Fedex Cup standings. He's an under-the-radar guy, very steady. Other than lacking some marquee wins, I think this could be a breakthrough week for him if he drives it well and hits a lot of greens. He's going to give himself some opportunities. Absent from the top 5 this week and some sleeper picks, Dustin Johnson certainly comes in there. The only reason I have him as a sleeper pick this week, it's very hard to duplicate what you did the week before. But if he comes out and shoots 30 under or 15 under this week, he definitely will have an opportunity to duplicate that. But I think with how the golf course is set up compared to the conditions that they played last week, it's going to be a little bit different. Not to say he plays U.S. Open style golf courses poorly, but he's going to have to really put a premium on getting it up and down out of heavy rough as opposed to short rough around the green. So that's going to be the only difference between him last week versus this week. Another one of those guys is John Rahm, coming in at the latter part of the FedEx Cup rankings at number 9. The Bmw Championship and on the way that this golf course sets up should be right in his wheelhouse. He drives it with plenty of length, and he could take advantage of a little bit of that on some of the holes to give himself some mid to short irons. Not too many wins on the PGA Tour, with only a couple. His game certainly fits the bill for Olympia. There's no doubt about it. So those are my picks for this week.
I came in today with Bryson D'shambo circled because he missed the cut last week, and I feel like he's gonna, really want to do well this week. So that was why I had circled. You took him, so I'm gonna go with my sleeper, and I'm gonna say Tyrell Hatton. What do you think about Tyrell, and what do you think about his chances to pull off a victory this weekend?
Tyrell's another under-the-radar guy. He drives it well. It's a matter of can he make enough birdies to be there on Sunday. So he's definitely had a great year this year, and from top to bottom. And he's right in the mix of where he needs to be. And I think he's definitely going to be in that top 5, top 10 category. So that's a great pick.
I'm going Daniel Berger. This guy has, since the hiatus, he 3 top 10s. He's got a pair of thirds, a top 2, top 13. He's played some really, really good golf, and I just think that he's going to put it all together and come away with a victory this weekend.
I'll tell you what, you look at a guy like him, we talked about him in the top 10, and obviously coming in at that number 4 position, quietly getting it done. If you look at Daniel Berger and you say, how many top 10s, how many top 25s has he made? It's astonishing. And you look at what he's made in earnings, he's almost made $5 million this year. So he certainly has gotten it done. Another one of those guys, he really controls his own destiny being in that top 5. He's right where you need to be, heading into that final week. He's going to be into the Tour Championship because he's obviously being in the top 5. But I think he needs to have a good week, and I think he's definitely a viable candidate to get it done.
Brian, if you had to pick a player from the 30 to 70 rankings in the FedEx Cup that had the best chance to win this weekend, who would you pick?
30 to 70. I'm thinking probably I would say 28 Kevin Streelman. Just because he can make a bunch of birdies, and he can make a bunch of birdies in venues that consistently play tough. If you look at his career at PGA Championships, at U.S. Opens, he's one of those guys that can string 3 or 4, 5 or 6 birdies along consecutively. And I think if you're doing that on a tough venue, people start watching that on the leaderboard and they start to get nervous. So I think he's one of those guys that can do it. I mean, you look at him and you look at even at like number 30, Billy Horschel. He's won a FedEx Cup. So I mean, he could be knocking on the door, in that range of players too. Just based on his experience. And it only takes, for guys like these guys and Ron's pick Tyrrell Hatton, they finish in the top 2 or 3. They're going to move up a bunch, and they're going to get into that top 10, top 5 circle, and they're going to give themselves the opportunity to set themselves up for making a run or a top 1 or 2 finish to be able to win all of the chips when they're down at the Tour Championship here in a week.
Okay, Brian, it's time for your tip of the week. Let's hear what you got.
You got it. Last week we worked on uneven lies. We're going to finish our series of 4 uneven lie golf lessons. This one's going to be side hill lie, where the ball is above your feet. Now, last week the ball was below our feet, so we're standing there, and the golf ball position was, maybe 3 feet, 2 feet, 1 foot below where we were standing from a stance line. This is going to be the opposite, where the ball is going to be now above our feet. So the first thing that we want to think about is, number 1, the club selection. Right-handed golfer, we'll set this up from a right-handed golfer's perspective. My 150-yard shot is with a 7-iron. Because the lie is what it is, I'm going to add more loft, knowing that the ball is going to come off differently, and we'll go over this. So I'm going to go from 7-iron to 8-iron. Club position is going to be normal ball position, center of your stance. Stance is going to be shoulders width apart. The difference is how we place our weight. Last week, because we were going down the hill, we wanted to make sure that the weight was on the heels of our feet toward the end of the hill. This, we want to make sure that the weight is going into the hill as well. So we want to make sure the weight is more so on the toes of our feet as opposed to the centers or the heels of our feet. That way it's going to give us some balance and some stability as we're standing over the shot. Alignment. This week you're going to have, if I'm a right-handed golfer, it's going to be a hook shot. So we want to make sure that we're going to aim a little bit to the right of the pin. So if you're a left-handed golfer, you want to aim a little bit left of the pin because the golf ball is going to hook a little bit. So we want to make sure that we play that. The ball flight will tend to go a little bit lower. However, because of the lie that we have, the golf ball is going to have a lot of overspin to it. So remember last week how we were going with the ball below our stance? We put a little bit more backspin. It's not quite as much roll. This one, when the ball hits, it will have the tendency to chase towards the target. So in this case, if I'm standing in a fairway where I've got a pin that's in the back of the green, I should be able to fly it to the front of the green, and that ball with the overspin and the side spin that's on it coming off a hook will chase that golf ball back towards the pin. If I've got a front pin placement, I want to pick a club that lands the ball maybe 10 or 15 yards short of the green, hoping for that hop or two up and knowing that you're going to get some roll to just trickle on the front edge of the green. So it's very vital that you play for the bounce that you're going to get, and you're playing for the side hill spin that you're going to get too. So shot pattern is going to be a hook. It's going to have a lot of overspin, and it's going to bounce forward, and the tendency is for the golf ball to roll out. So last piece of the equation is, number 1, just like with the uphill lie, the downhill lie, or side hill lie, the ball below your feet, now the ball's above our feet, we want to make sure that we maintain our balance through the shot. So what I tell everybody on this shot, number 1, you can choke down on the grip a little bit because that'll help you out a little bit because your arms are going to be a little bit shorter with where the hill is because the hill's closer from where the golf ball location's at. You want to make sure that you're swinging in balance. You don't want to lose your balance on any of these shots. So you're not going to really want to try to overpower the shot. Make sure you have a club where you can just make a nice smooth swing, maybe at 70% or 75% of how you normally would swing the club. Trust the loft of the club and the shot, how it's coming off with the overspin, that you have plenty of club to get to the distance that you need to. And the main key is maintain your balance throughout the course of the shot, and you're going to hit some really good golf shots.
All right, I wrote it down, and this one is going to help me out tremendously because it seems like I'm always on a side hill with the ball above my feet. So this one will definitely help me out.
Yeah, it's definitely common spots. I mean, not so much for Mill Creek where we're generally level, but there's a lot of golf courses that have a lot of slope and undulation. Even though you may hit a really good tee shot, you may have a ball above your feet or below your feet when it comes to being in the fairway. So knowing how to make those adjustments will really make the difference in how you play and how you approach the shot and making sure that you get the best shot out of what you're standing over.
Brian, thanks a lot for the tip, and as always, a outstanding segment. And, man, I look forward to catching up with you next Wednesday as we will have the top 30. And fingers crossed, Kokrak needs a top 5 to possibly get into the top 30. And yeah, maybe he does put together an unbelievable 4 rounds of golf and gets himself a top 5 finish.
You know what? I think he does. I think it's going to be close. So he's certainly going to need a little bit of help, but I think he could trickle into that 30, 28, 29 spot, and it would be gangbusters for him. You know, not only in FedEx Cup points, but in the events that you get into from this standpoint out going forward. But what a great week and weekend for golf and the rest of the season. You know, FedEx Cup, we got the next 2 weeks. You got the U.S. Open coming up. We got the Masters in November. But what a great schedule in a compacted year for the game of golf. And just being a fan, it's exciting.
Yeah, and I can't wait to see if it's a good weekend for Warren JFK, because they're going to be able to watch their football team on Friday, and then if Kokrak is doing really good, they can have a good weekend Saturday and Sunday and watch him hopefully make the top 30.
That certainly would be awesome. There's no doubt about it.
Hey, Brian, always a pleasure. Look forward to catching up with you next week.
You got it. Thanks, guys. Have a great week.
All right, sir. Brian Tolnar over at Mill Creek, and he's our PGA guy. And listen, if Kokrak has a solid week.
Wouldn't that be a great weekend for JFK
Oh,
fans?
my God, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Warren JFK in action Friday night as JFK is playing. Who are they playing? Warrensville Heights is coming to Mollenkopf on Friday night. That's a 7 o'clock start. So if you're a JFK fan and you can't get to Mollenkopf and you want to watch the game, YSNLive.com, $9.99, $250 of which will go back to the Warren JFK Athletic Department. You want to take care of that.
And another thing is that will give you the download link. You'll be emailed the next day, so you'll have that game forever.
There you go.
Don't have to. Normally, you would have to watch the game, and it would be free, and then you'd pay $2.99 for the download the day after. Now we've included that in your pay-per-view price, so now you get the download link the day after, no extra charge.
All right, we're going to talk some high school football. Champion coach Tim McGlynn is going to be joining us as we continue along on this Wednesday edition of Running Point on YSNLive.com.
They say American craftsmanship is making a comeback. Of course, at Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, it never went away.
People are floored by Baird Brothers' authentic hardwood floors. They stare at our stairs and adore our doors. Baird Brothers reflects 3 generations of family craftsmanship. Visit our huge in-stock selection in person or at BairdBrothers.com.
Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
Planning a project around your home or rental property? Trust the electrical service to the local experts with 62 years of serving the Mahoning Valley. Joe Dickey Electric is your local go-to source for responsive, reliable residential electrical work. From everyday maintenance and repairs to new installations, electrical upgrades, and safety inspections, no job is too big or too small. Call Joe Dickey Electric today, 800-549-3976, or visit DickeyElectric.com. That's DickeyElectric.com.
Myers Family Insurance knows the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is here, so it's all hands on deck to make sure your plans still meet your needs for 2020.
Call us today.
Hey, my Ohio friends, it's Mike Ditka, and I know great talent and heart when I see it. I can tell you from firsthand experience, there are average real estate agents, then there are true champions. Kelly Warren is one of those champions, and you have her right there in your own backyard. Kelly outmarkets and outsells every agent in the Mahoning Valley. If Kelly can't sell your home at a price and deadline you agree to, Kelly will buy it. Get your home sold. Call Kelly Warren today at 717-2689 or go online to kellysoda.com and start packing.
You can feel it. Baird Brothers' traditional craftsmanship. You can see it. Baird Brothers' timeless style. And you can afford it. And find everything at BairdBrothers.com. Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods is real hardwood, yet beautifully affordable. Floors, moldings, interior doors, bar rails, and stair parts. All within your means and without a care. Start at BairdBrothers.com. You have made it. Your home.
Teams work hard and give it all they've got. Well, so does ours, because 21 Sports and YSN give you extra effort when covering local sports. 21 Sports and YSN, winning coverage of our Valley's teams.
Welcome back to a Wednesday edition of Running Point on YSNLive.com. Ron Potesta with you alongside Anthony Hardwig, and we are joined on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline by the head football coach of the champion Golden Flashes. Entering his third year, Tim McGlynn joins us. Coach, how are you today, sir?
Good. How are you? Thanks a lot for having me on.
I'm doing great, Tim. And I'll tell you what, Champion was the story of the 2019 football season through the first 8 weeks of the campaign. Champion rip-roaring 7-1 start and could very well have been 8-0. You guys on opening night took JFK down to the wire, losing the game 7-6. You reeled off 7 straight wins, including victories over Rittman, Pie Valley, Windham, LeBray, Newton Falls, Liberty, and Campbell. And then the last 2 weeks of the season, you lost to Crestview and Brookfield, ended up the season 7-3. But, Coach, you got a lot of kids coming back and something special coming on in Champion. You guys had a fantastic year, last 2 weeks of the regular season notwithstanding.
Yeah, we do. We just kind of hit a hiccup the last 2 weeks, and the thing is we were fighting for a playoff bid, and if you win one of those games, you're in, and we just couldn't pull one of them off. And another thing too is we played 2 very good football teams, so we're excited for the next 6 weeks here before the playoff bid and see where it lays.
You get to open with one of those teams this season with Crestview in week 1. What's it been like preparing for Crestview in week 1, and what's the feeling around the team in preparing for week 1?
Well, all summer we prepared for JFK, and then it all came out that we were just going to play a league schedule, and we kind of turned the page, and my coaches have done a very good job of preparing the kids and getting them ready for this week, and our kids are excited to play, and we're excited to just go in and compete, and Crestview's got a great team back, so it's we were going to have a tough week 1 regardless. So we're ready to go, and hopefully, we just compete.
Coach, you have a brand new quarterback replacing Nick Stallman in your shotgun spread offense will be Noah Vesey. He is a senior. Tell us a little bit about Noah Vesey.
Noah he was a inside receiver last year. He's a very versatile player, very football smart. He's taken the helm over this year right now, and he's had a really good camp. We're excited to see him, progress as the season goes on. And he's always been a leader on our team since we arrived. He's going to be a 4-year starter. So we're excited to see what Noah brings to that quarterback position.
You have some very interesting running backs led by Austin Wilforth, kid that ran for over 1,150 yards, found the end zone 14 times. Just a bulldozer of a runner. He's one of those guys you love watching play as the coach and assister as the opposing coach. They're not so happy with this guy because he's tough to game plan for.
Well, Austin has done it. Like, once again, he's kind of like he's our Noah Vesey of offense, and he's really put the team on his back the last 2 years, and he's had a really good off season with the COVID. With everything happening, he's down about 30 pounds. He looks amazing. We're excited to see what he's about to present. He rushed for over 1,400 yards last year, and we're ready to build off of that, and hopefully we get to play our 10 games and more, and to see what he can do and see what Noah back there, him and Noah and our other guy, Keegan McDermott, number 3. They're kind of, all the coaches call them thunder and lightning, but it's more like lightning now. So there's no more thunder out of Austin Wilforth.
Speaking of lightning, when you turn the game film on with Champion, it's not very hard to see that you guys live up to your nickname in the Golden Flashes. Such an athletic team. You run that spread offense. Just talk about the athleticism and the pride you take in it and how much of a weapon it is to have so many kids that are so athletic.
Well, when we first got here, we really didn't know what we were going to have in the kids at Champion, and we've been very surprised on what they've brought to the table. And the nice thing is we have a mixture of older guys and younger guys, and and the nice thing is also our guys have done a really nice job to get bigger, faster, and stronger. We have number 11, Nick Vesey, Noah's brother. That's just lightning quick. He's a good track guy. And it's nice to see our athletes that when we first got here, we didn't have a ton. Now we have a ton of guys that just have worked their butts off to get better every year.
Well, you definitely have a large offensive line, and man, you Levi Grimes is the guy that is anchoring your line, and 6'3", 315 pounds, and you got some beef on that front line, and that's a good thing, especially for a D5 school to be that strong and that big up front.
Well, Levi, once again, he's worked his butt off. He's a big, powerful kid. When he locks on, it's hard to get off. And the other nice thing is we have Zach Shear, number 50. That's going to be a 4-year starter. Number 70, Logan Easterday, is going to be a sophomore. He's 6'5", 285 pounds. Is coming along every week. So we're excited for our offensive line. We're excited to see what they can do and how our backs and running backs and can run behind them, and it's just once again, I tell everybody it's all baby steps, and that's what we take.
Flip to the other side of the ball. Talk about your defense and what kind of things that Flash fans can kind of expect from the defensive side of things for your program.
Well, defensively, we have 8 guys back on defense. We played a really good defense last year. And the nice thing is when you got everybody back, it's nice to continue to try to build off what you did last year. And, we held, when we played Brookfield the last week, our kids battled up front defensively. We kind of have been trying to build off of that game plan from the Brookfield game last year where we just battled. We just couldn't get anything going offensively. And the nice thing is, too, is we got guys that we lost. We had guys that played a ton last year, during the season. So it's not like we're putting in guys that never played defensively.
a lot of expectations for the champion program, but then there's some people that look at last year's final 2 games and say, okay, yeah, they were good 7-1, but then they lost to Crestview, they lost to Brookfield. But, if you're a champion fan, hey, I would love to have one of those 2 teams as a week 1 opponent, and you get one of those 2 teams in Crestview. And, oh, by the way, you also are drawing Brookfield. Not every team is going to be playing all of the teams in the division. You guys have both Crestview and Brookfield on your schedule, along with Liberty, LeBray, Newton Falls, and a non-conference game against Southeast. That's a nice 6-game season to get you prepared for the playoffs, Coach.
Absolutely. And, like I said earlier, we were preparing for a tough game week 1 in JFK. JFK has battled since I've been here, and our kids know that our week 1 battle it's going to be a battle every year at our week 1. And the nice thing is we know Crestview's going to come in here and battle us. So our mindset has not changed on how we've prepared. Our kids know that it's going to be a battle every week. We're not sneaking up on anybody like we did some games last year. Everybody knows it's going to be a battle, and that's one thing I think our kids here at Champion have really grabbed the bull by the horns, and they accept that challenge. And and our big thing is we want to compete in every game, regardless of what we do. And being outscored, not scoring a point last year, week 9 and 10, has really sat with our kids. There's different numbers all over the locker room and the weight room, different things like that. So, our kids know what's expected and what's coming to them week 1.
So what was the excitement and atmosphere like when the state finally gave football the green light and you knew that for sure you were going to get a week 1 and you guys were going to get football to play?
Our kids have really we all summer we've tried to just not kind of have blinders on that we were going to play regardless. And, and when we announced that we were going to play and how different things we're going to do, I just think that our kids have been just on fire since, and they're taking the proper steps to prepare themselves. And, and one thing that we've done all summer as coaches, we've just kept our nose to the ground, and we just continue to take steps forward and make sure our kids are ready. And I told everybody, regardless if we play or not play, we're going to be ready for week 1. And that's our job, and that's our coaching staff's job, and our kids have really bought into that.
Coach, the last time Champion had a winning program, you got to go back to 2010 when the team went 6-4, and well, the streak is going to break this year, but the last time Champion went into the postseason, 1994. Safe to say that the Champion football program is starting to trend in the right direction, and you guys are trending upward and could possibly be trending upward at Golden Flash's lightning speed.
Yes, like I said, our kids have really bought into what we brought here, and I played for Carl Pelini and Neil Kopp, and we have brought just the toughness of what we learned in our playing days and our coaching career, and that's one thing that we want to just show is we're tough, we'll battle, we'll compete, and and the thing is it's just like I said earlier, it's all a process, and we're taking the proper steps to get where we need to be, and our kids have really bought into what we brought here.
Coach, I would be remiss if I didn't let you take a minute to shine a light on your coaching staff. I know they work hard, just as hard as you do. You're the only one that answers the questions, so take a time to kind of shine a light on your coaching staff and the support system you have to make your program as great as it is.
Absolutely. Like I said, it's these guys come every day. It's rain or shine, and they put a lot of time in, and they've done a lot through the COVID with doing Zoom meetings with the kids and texting and this and that. And it's just and the nice thing here is we have everybody back. Everybody's been here since day one. We've added a couple different guys here and there, but everyone's been here since it started, from the ups, the downs, the middles, and and I can't ask any more out of my guys and I'm just grateful to have a great coaching staff, and I'm grateful to have great kids.
Coach, always a pleasure. Congratulations on the success last year, and best of luck this game Friday night against Crestview is going to be all kinds of fun, and I'm looking forward to broadcasting this game, and I'm looking forward to seeing the Golden Flashes in their home opener and season opener.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on. We really appreciate it. You guys need anything else, just let me know.
All right, Coach, always a pleasure, and go Champion.
Absolutely. See you Friday night. Thank
All righty,
you.
sir. There he is, the head football coach of the Champion Golden Flashes, Tim McGlynn, in his third year. And, again, this bears repeating. Champion, the last time they had a winning team, you go back to 2010. The last time they went to the playoffs. 1994.
And they were so close last year.
Oh, my goodness.
He said it, if they win one of those two games against Crestview or Brookfield, they're probably in the playoffs, no doubt. But they couldn't pull it off. And props to, Crestview and Brookfield are both incredibly strong defenses. So not a huge knock to struggle offensively against those two teams.
No, but to be outscored 68-0 when you're off to a 7-1 start, people are going to look and say, "Hey, we finished 7-3. It's a winning record." But in the human nature of being greedy, you're looking at 7-1, going, "Okay, now we got to win one of these games, go to the playoffs." I'm sure there's some people that were not too happy with the last 2 weeks, but you have to look at this and say, hey, 7-3 is a damn good record for this team.
Look at the history of the program and just realize they have to take that next step now, and they're going to do that week one, take the next step, and try to compete with Crestview like they obviously did not compete with them last season.
Look, Noah Vesey is an athlete,
yes.
and I'm sure that he's going to.
Athletes.
There's no question. Wilforth and Keegan McDermott, two kids that. Good luck trying to game plan against those two. And oh, by the way, Noah's younger brother, Nick Vesey, is going to be a receiver. Joe Fell, Chase Burfitt, and who is it? Brandon Dykes. Burfitt and Dykes are both over 6 feet tall. They're going to be wide receivers. That's a nightmare for any defensive backs.
And you don't usually see teams with two receivers that size at this level of high school football. So that's a mismatch problem right there that the Rebels are going to have to be prepared for. And I'm sure that's going to be a talking point for you guys on the broadcast.
Well, and listen, Crestview has not done a good job through the years in their pass coverage. They've given up some pretty big games through the years with their pass coverage, but one of the things that I love about Crestview's defense is they'll give you some yards, but good luck trying to find the end zone consistently.
Right.
And I saw their scrimmage against United, and it was exactly what I said. They'll give up some yards, but you won't get the end zone that often.
That's because when they get in the red zone, they get tough because then all of a sudden you don't have that room to spread out that secondary.
Exactly.
And it gets a lot easier to defend the pass. And when it comes to their run defense, it's always solid. So the red zone defense of Crestview is going to be the difference. The time when Crestview gets in trouble is when they get those big plays that end up in touchdowns, 40-yard touchdowns, 50-yard touchdowns, and then that's when Crestview's defense gets into trouble. But the one thing that Coach McGlynn said that I just was internally applauding was when he said that whether they played or not, they were going to be ready for week one. And that just tells me that over at Champion, they're only worried about what's in their control. They're not going to worry about what's out of their control or anything like that. You worry about those kind of things, that can distract the focus of a team. But Champion, if everyone buys into that mindset, which according to Coach they have, then they're going to be a dead-focused team on beating you, which is always dangerous.
And I'm loving the fact that this program put up numbers last year, and the numbers of 35-0, 33-0, strewn all over the Champion locker room to remind them, hey, for 8 weeks, we were one of the best teams in our region, but we failed to finish the job. Now you get an opportunity, albeit in a 6-game season, but right off the get-go, you have an opportunity to right a wrong last year, and no doubt Champion will be ready for this game Friday night.
What a win over Crestview would do for the morale of the team going forward would be huge, because it'd be one of those numbers that you get to take out of the locker room. That doesn't exist anymore. We've conquered that giant. Let's get that off. And then if they go on in the rest of the season, they end up beating Brookfield, you tear off that number too. And if they win both those games, then we better watch out in the postseason.
Oh, there's no question. And again, they're Division 5. The same division as Crestview. Let's see. Could these two teams be playing two times this year? There's a distinct possibility
because our friend Dana Ballish has both the teams going 4-2. Now he didn't break down the game, so I don't know who he picked for this week, but he has both the teams of Crestview and Champion going 4-2. That could be a second or third round matchup.
Listen, it's if you're a fan of the Crestview Rebels and you see, we beat this team 35-0 and everyone's back.
Not so fast, my friend.
Don't do that. Don't do that because this team's going to be good and they're going to be ready on Friday to take on Crestview.
Champion's hoping you're doing that. Champion's really hoping that you come into that game with the mindset of, we beat these guys 34-0. We don't have to worry about these guys. You know?
Well, but here's the thing.
But Crestview's really well coached.
Yeah.
So I doubt that their team will have that mentality. But they're kids. Sometimes it's hard to fight that mentality.
Sure. But if you look at this team, clearly they're trending in the right direction.
Absolutely.
You get your first winning record since 2010. You go 7-3. This team is definitely trending in the right direction, and they got enough kids back where they're going to be a lot of fun to watch on a week-in, week-out basis.
It's like a basketball team that wins a district championship for the first time in a while. You take that step. You might take your lumps in the regional tournament, but you take that step and you keep getting your kids back to that step. Eventually that program's going to take the next step and win a regional game. So the same thing with Champion. You got your first winning season in a long time. Your program took that step. This season, it's on you guys to take another step and go and beat the teams that you couldn't beat last year.
Now, with Crestview, they are a playoff-rich environment, and it seems like every year they're in the postseason. They weren't in last year, but they were 5-1 in their league.
That's a tough pill to swallow when you dominate your league like that, and then you don't get in the playoffs.
But you were 0-4 in your non-conference schedule. Now, Crestview's going to be doing league games, and the only team that beat them last year isn't in their league schedule this year.
So they're sitting pretty too.
Yeah, so they're looking at this, and again, this would be a huge mistake if you did it, but they're looking at the 5 games and saying, beat them, beat them, beat them, beat them, and beat them.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, we're golden. Our non-conference game is East Liverpool. Hey, let's bring the 6-0 record. No. You got to play it 1 week at a time. Got to play it 1 week at a time.
The old adage is you don't win until you win. So you have to go out there, and if football was played on paper, it'd be great for Crestview, but it's not.
This is going to be a fun game.
Any of those teams that you beat up last year, they all have the mentality of Crestview, of Champion, where they have nothing to lose. They're going to come out and give Crestview everything they got. And if you don't give them the respect they deserve, especially Champion in week 1, they'll shock you. And that's not a pun because of the lightning.
Yeah, a lightning bolt from the sky. There you go. Now, this is going to be a fun game. I'm looking forward to broadcasting this game. And again, if you are a Champion fan, go to ysnlive.com. Click on schools, the drop box falls. You click on Champion if you're a Champion fan. You click on Crestview if you're a fan of the Rebels. You pay your $9.99. $2.50 will go to the school's athletic department, and make sure you are putting your whichever device you're planning on using, make sure you're using that device when you're paying with your credit card. So there you go. All right, we're coming up on the 2 o'clock hour. That means we're coming up on our next guest, the sports editor of the Vindicator and the Tribune Chronicle. Doug Chapin joins us in this Wednesday edition of Running Point. That comes up in a bit. Stick around, more to come. It is a Wednesday edition of Running Point on ysnlive.com.
21 News.
Let's get right to our top story tonight.
More experienced reporters.
A new Wilmington restaurant.
GM Lordstown.
Telling more local stories.
We'll look at efforts
Boy is recovering from a broken
around our valley.
Community in Niles. We are here in Youngstown, right up.
Because you expect.
It's important for everyone.
No place like home.
More local news.
In Mercer County Court.
21 News is our valley's #1 local news.
Welcome home to a home made homier with Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods. Inspiration starts at BairdBrothers.com and is turned into reality when high-quality hardwoods are delivered right to your home. Baird Brothers has the latest design trends. Shiplap and skinny lap interior siding, antique oak rustic flooring. And, well, you'll find them all at BairdBrothers.com. Ordered easily, delivered conveniently, enjoyed comfortably. BairdBrothers.com.
Hello, I'm Greg Burbick with G. Burbick Farms. For the last 100 years, my family has farmed in the Columbiana and Mahoning counties. I began raising cattle in 1996 with the goal of providing a better product for you and your family on the dinner table. Our grass-fed and grain-supplemented Black Angus beef are raised with no hormones, steroids, or antibiotics. We're known for our hometown-friendly service and incredible tasting products. We're locally owned and have customers across the tri-state area. Our products go from our farm to your family. Stop by our farm on New Buffalo Road or visit us on the web at gburbickfarms.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook. G. Burbick Farms, it just tastes better.
Welcome into the final hour of a Wednesday edition of Running Points on ysnlive.com. Ron Potesta with you alongside Anthony Hartwig, and joining us, I should say, on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline. He is the sports editor for the Tribune Chronicle as well as the Vindicator. He is Doug Chapin. Doug, how are you today, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well, and it's been a long time since we spoke, and I'm glad that we're going to make this happen again on Wednesdays during Running Point.
Yeah, it hasn't been a while. But yeah, I'm looking forward to talking some more.
All right, how surprised are you off the get-go? How surprised are you that we have high school football this year, being with all the stuff that we have had to deal with in the state of Ohio and, frankly, throughout the country and the entire world for that matter? How surprised are you that high school football is going to be starting this week?
I'm not all that surprised. If I figured that the OHSAA would do everything they could possibly do to make it happen, because if they don't have a football season, or the playoff season, it wouldn't be all that shocking for them to run out of money totally and not be able to do what they do. So I think they were going to make every effort to play a season, no matter what it looks like.
Doug, I want to offer a supreme compliment if I can. I mean, look, we all were wondering whether we were going to actually have high school football. And I know that you guys had all of the previews and all of the stories in the can, if you will. But to get everything all together and to not only have the Tribune Chronicle preview, but to also have the Vindicator preview, both of them done just an exceptional job with both previews, and I will tip my hat to you guys. That was just a very, very good job. Well done for the Tribune and the Vindicator.
Thank you. The guys did a great job with the stories. Unfortunately, we weren't able to take photos of part of it. We've got another special section coming out this coming Sunday called our Keepsake, which normally has a team picture of all the schools. But again, we probably got, say, 40% of the schools we got photos of, maybe a little bit less than that. Some didn't take them at all. Some are still scheduled to take them. It's past our deadline. But for the preview itself, yes, you were right. We had to make a decision that we're going to go ahead with it and get started on it, even though we didn't know there was going to be a season. And the guys did a great job. Some of the stories we had to adjust midway when we found out there was going to be a season. So, yeah, they did a great job. Another thing that we would have liked to see them larger and that depends on advertising. And I know it's really a difficult time to ask business owners to put money into an ad or something like that. And I understand that. So they were a little bit smaller than they've been in the past. We still got 43 schools covered. We ended up putting some of the Columbiana County ones in the regular paper in the Vindicator this past week because we didn't have the space in the tabs. But appreciate the compliment. The guys really worked hard. They did a really good job on that.
Obviously, I imagine it's been a real busy week the last 2 weeks to kind of get the wheels in motion and get you guys going for a football season. We didn't know that if we'd have or not, but once we had the green light, very busy. So what's it been like the last couple of weeks over there trying to get everyone ready for Friday Night Lights?
Yeah, I mean, that was part of it, was not knowing. And then, well, in the middle of doing all the tab and putting it all together, the football edition, we still have to schedule the guys to cover volleyball, cover soccer games. We send out a questionnaire to the coaches of the non-football sports, and they send them back, and we started running those last Sunday's edition. So we're still really busy. And then Friday night itself is going to be the first Friday of the season is always a little bit chaotic, simply because there might be statisticians or coaches out there who don't know how to get their information sent to us, and it's just getting back in the groove kind of thing. So Saturday's paper will have plenty of coverage of what happened Friday night, and actually Friday's paper will have Thursday games, and Sunday's paper will have the Saturday games we got this weekend. So we're looking forward to it. It's fun. It's a huge challenge, but we love to cover the teams, get as many photos and game stories in as we can. We get to as many as we can, and then go from there week 2.
Doug Chapin, our guest. He is the sports editor of the Tribune Chronicle as well as the Vindicator. He joins us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning Hotline with 4 games in our area for tomorrow night. 2 games stick out, Howland at Canfield and Cheney at Ursuline. Those 2 games be a lot of fun, sneaky good games, if you will. And then on Friday, we just got off the phone with Coach McGlynn, the coach over at Champion. This one's an under-the-radar game. I think it's going to be a great game and a great opener in the Mahoning Valley Athletic Conference Gray tier. Crestview going up against Champion. That's going to be I don't know if it's a marquee game on a Friday night, but that's a sneaky good game.
It's probably, in a normal year, it might be the one that decides that league. I think those are the 2 best teams in the MVAC Gray. I like the way you picked right up on that. But yeah, that's a good one. And what's funny about the schedule, if you look at it, we don't have as many games on a given week that we might normally have, because we don't have the local team playing a non-local team. We get a lot of that, especially early in the season in a normal year. This year, they're starting right off the bat. It's local against local, and that means on any given Friday night, there's 12 games that we would love to have somebody cover, but we've only got 7 people to do it. So there are going to be some really good games that we just can't get somebody to, and we'll have the result, and we'll have a description of what happened, but we just won't have the coverage we'd like to have.
When you think about week 1 and some games to really look out for that you think could be really good games, what are some games in week 1 that pop out to you?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear that.
I said, when you look at week 1 schedule, what are some games that pop out to you that you think could be really good matchups?
This weekend?
Yeah, this weekend.
Oh, like we mentioned, Cheney Ursuline should be good. Howland Canfield will be interesting. Mooney Steubenville will be it'll be a test to see where Mooney is at. You got Pitch Portland on the first weekend of the season. I mean, these kind of matchups are, what we usually get later. I do like that Crestview Champion game. We're going to have somebody at that. Poland South Range, that's a good start to the Northeast 8. and then there's a couple others there too. Struthers Hubbard is going to be a decent one. So like I said, there are each week. If you look at that schedule, there are a bunch of really good games. Just looking at them from a standpoint of rivals and league rivals, what they've done in the past. Starting about week 3, week 4, when we have their records also, like these two teams are both 2-0, these two teams are both 3-0 or whatever. That's going to be even more significant, and you'll see there are even more games that seem to be the marquee matchup, and there's going to be a lot of them each week.
Doug, on Saturday, Harding will be opening up their season, but it's not going to be against the team we all thought it was going to be. Cleveland Heights pulls out. Enter Cleveland Benedictine. And, it's tough when you're preparing for one team and then all of a sudden you're going to have to play another team, and it's tougher when you go from Cleveland Heights to Benedictine. I think it's a step up, which might be bad news for Harding, but hey, look, Harding already has a tough schedule, so you might as well throw in another tough team in Cleveland Benedictine.
Yeah, and I think what happened there is probably going to happen again during the season. There will be teams that either they'll have positive tests for COVID or for whatever reason they'll be unable to play, and ADs are going to be scrambling to find replacements. Excuse me. That's what happened on Monday, and they were. I assume they were pretty lucky to be able to find anybody to play. So yeah, I look for that kind of thing to happen. The Lowellville, Jackson Milton and Lowellville game was moved from Thursday to Saturday because Lowellville's going to end up playing at Struthers, their home game. So a lot of that kind of stuff will happen. And then what will be even more unusual is when we get to week 7, when the playoffs are going to be starting, how many teams are not going to get playoffs? They're going to decide, no, we're just going to keep playing regular season games, and how that's going to work. We think the schedule's kind of crazy or unusual now. Wait till that happens, and then week 8, week 9, you can still play regular season games once you're eliminated from the playoffs. So obviously, it's going to be a year like no other in high school football.
Who are some teams that you think that maybe struggle a little bit this year that can really shock some people and have a good, productive season?
I was thinking last night. I read the previews for all 43 teams. I edited them, and you think I know, who the best teams are after doing that, but there's so many of it. It all jumbles up in my mind. I think I like that Mooney and Ursuline are going to be improved from what they did. They're obviously the teams that we know about. And Poland's coming off a state semifinal year, and Springfield's coming off a state runner-up year. Those teams, and they got quite a few back from those teams, so they should be solid in their at their level. I like all 5 teams in the what used to be the All-American Red tier. They're playing independent now. Fitch, Boardman, and Harding are playing, and Canfield are playing really solid schedules, and Howland's in there too. They should be a little bit better. Steel Valley team should be Sandy East, Mooney, and Ursuline. Those should be really good games when they meet. So if there's a surprise, I don't know if you consider McDonald a surprise. They're usually one of the better teams in there in the MPAC, now the Scarlet tier. But I think they can have a really good season. Crestview, of course, has everybody back. They didn't have any seniors last year, so they should have a really good season. I'm trying to think of anybody you might consider a surprise. Struthers is supposed to be, because they got a new coach. They've got a lot of people back. I think it should be a really interesting year for high school football, even though it's quite a bit different than we're used to.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I think is going to be interesting. Assuming we can get past week number 1 and knock on wood, pray to the gods that there is no COVID outbreak. after week number 1 so we can get through the regular season. And I get the feeling that once we get through, let's say, week 5 and there's no problems, then we're going to have a postseason because, as you mentioned, the OHSAA, they need the money. And let's be honest, this is all money driven in terms of the postseason and the expanded postseason. The OHSAA needs this.
Sure, especially since they lost out on the income from the winter sports tournaments. The basketball, they were just about to start the girls' basketball state tournament, and ended up closing that down. The football postseason and those two winter sports postseasons, basketball, the two basketballs and wrestling are pretty certain the main income sources for the OHSAA. So yeah, them having a postseason is really important in football for their future, for them to continue doing what they do.
Hey, Doug, a couple of more things before we let you go. The Browns, their off season continues, or their summer training camp continues to be black and blue, as Grant Delpit is the latest Cleveland Brown to suffer a significant injury. He blew out his Achilles. He is gone for the year, and unfortunately, that makes the Browns' defense all the more susceptible. I didn't think this was a team that was good enough to get past Baltimore or Pittsburgh. Now they're really in a bad situation. Any word or any thought of the Browns going after an Earl Thomas?
Oh, I don't know. I don't. I'm not sure what. I thought they had a couple of veteran guys behind them, from Berger, and I don't know. I'm not sure what their thinking is on picking up controversial players. Whether or not often it has to do with does somebody on the coaching staff have a past connection with a player like that. I don't know. They'll evaluate, I'm sure, and look at what they've got, look at what's out there, and make some sort of decision. That's unfortunate about Delpit. It was a nice pick. I saw it I think it was the second round, and that is unfortunate. You're right. They were. I think what you said about them catching the Ravens and Steelers. I think they really had to have everything go as well as it could go for them to be, move up a level for the, into playoff status. So far that hasn't happened, but we'll see what happens during the season. I'm thinking, I think most Browns fans are hoping that Stefanski, the new coach, has enough of a positive influence on the offense that any defensive shortcomings can be overcome.
Yeah, they're going to have to score a lot more points now that the defense took a significant hit with the loss of the rookie safety. Hey, before we let you go, the Indians losing game 1 of their series against Minnesota. They desperately need to win this series. So enter Mike Clevenger from Lake County. Just my opinion, I'll see if you agree with this. I think this is Clevenger's last start with the Cleveland Indians. I think that win, lose, or draw tonight, Mike Clevenger is dealt for a significant bat and maybe a 1 or 2 minor leaguers. What say you? And with Clevenger coming back, the Oliver Perez is in the clubhouse. Do you think this is going to upset the apple cart in the clubhouse with the Indians with Clevenger coming back?
That one first. I think my opinion is they punished those two adequately by keeping them out of the major league for two weeks or whatever the time period was. They both missed a couple starts, I think, and I think that was meant to, and I hope it worked. It shocked them into thinking, hey, we're not above all the rules. We, just because we're pretty good pitchers doesn't mean they can get by without us. And within the team, the worst thing that could have happened is if they'd run into a big losing streak when they did that, and that would have Clevenger and Plesac could think, well, they really need us, when in fact they treaded water and they held their own and they're going to be okay. come back. So I'm hoping that most of the players feel that way too, that the punishment has been, handed out. They took it. They, they're going to come back and help us win the division or get it into the playoffs or whatever. About the trade, it wouldn't surprise me if they did. I'm not sure how many trades we're going to see as far as because, especially of minor leaguers, because nobody's been able to see the minor leaguers the first half of the season or at all this season. So, you can't know what sort of progress they've made. Whether you've got somebody in mind that you're looking for from another organization. So I don't know about the trade. If he did, it wouldn't surprise me. If they did trade him, it wouldn't surprise me. And the other thing I wanted to say is, with the new playoff format, I don't know that any series in the regular season is crucial until you get down to the last 2 weeks where you have to win in order to do it. Because right now the Indians and White Sox, one of them is going to be the second place team in the playoffs, and the other one's going to be the best wild card record in the playoffs. So as long as they don't collapse, I think they'll be fine.
That's a fair point. It is a fair point, though. If the Indians want to reel Minnesota in, they have to win tonight. A loss, sure. And now they're 2.5 games out of first place instead of a half a game out of first place. So I'm just using from that perspective because you're not going to get Minnesota that many more times. I think you have one more series left with the Twins after this.
Yeah, the Twins did a heck of a job revamping their pitching staff without hurting their offense.
Yeah, no question. Yeah, I hate to say it, they are the better team right now, but hopefully the Indians catch fire in the second half of the season, and we'll go from there. Doug, I've missed talking with you. Hopefully we do this every Wednesday at 2 o'clock.
All right, sounds good. It's fun.
All right, sir. Doug Chapin, he is the Tribune Chronicle and Vindicator sports editor, and he joined us on the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline. And he brings up an interesting point with the Indians. By the way, welcome to the second half of the season. First half went by like that.
Like that. I told you on Monday you better pitch carefully to Nelson Cruz, and he hurt you on Monday.
Yeah.
Because that boy is hot right now, and I told you Sano was hot.
Yeah.
So, yeah, those two, they're dangerous, and I think I think Sano bats right behind Cruz.
Well, listen, that offense is fun to watch.
Yeah, they're good.
Unless you're the opposing manager, then it's not so fun to watch.
And they're minus Byron Buxton, who's one of their better hitters, too. This all-around average hitters, he's pretty good. So they had him in the 9 spot, actually, until he got hurt. So they had basically 2 leadoff hitters with Kepler would bat lead off, I think, against right-handed pitching, and they'd have someone else lead off. I think Polanco would lead off against lefties. But either one of those two leading off right behind Byron Buxton in the 9 spot, that was just he set the table for the top of the lineup, and then all of a sudden you had Nelson Cruz in the 3 spot, and Sano right behind him. It's a tough lineup to go up against.
No, it definitely is, and the reason why the Twins are one of the best teams is not only that offense, but that pitching staff has been nothing short of brilliant.
The pitching staff's good. It's not great. It's not like the Indians' pitching staff, but it's good enough to complement their offense.
Absolutely.
They have a couple of days where they have to play bullpen games because they're down a couple of starters, but they still get it done.
Yeah. And let me just say this, and look, I understand that the theme for everyone is, God, this Indians offense is garbage. They're just not scoring any runs. I'm going to tend to agree with what people say, but let me throw this out because we're halfway through the season. Do you realize that the Indians have scored 4 or more runs in half of their games this year? 15 out of 30 games, the Indians have scored 4 or more runs. By the way, they're 13-2 in those 15 games.
I'll point out again the AL Central. The other 3, the Royals, White Sox, and Twins and Indians, all 4 of them are in the top 6 in the AL of pitching staffs as far as their team ERA goes.
Yeah.
So you have a very tough division when it comes to pitching.
By the way, how'd you like Lucas Giolito last night? Yeah, unbelievable. Unbelievable.
The poor Pirates.
Well, the Pirates got no hit last night, and nothing like screwing your 3-game winning streak out the window. But look, Lucas Giolito is just one of those kids that I would just love to have. He would fit any rotation. I'm not sure he'd be the ace anywhere, but he would definitely be the 2 or the 3 in Cleveland.
And then they were talking about on the Royals broadcast last night, him, Flaherty from the Cardinals, and then there's another pitcher. All got drafted first round, and they all went to the same high school. Can you imagine that high school pitching staff?
Yeah.
3 first-round MLB draft picks.
Try to explain to one of those kids, because you only go with 2 starters in high school baseball.
You don't have to.
Well, you don't have to, but predominantly on a tournament run, you normally use 2 starters and then 1 guy. Try to explain to one of those 3 guys, hey, by the way, you're going to have to be our floater. And
I bet one of them was just a straight-up closer, like coming in the 5th inning and they shut this team down.
Yeah.
I bet one of them was.
Hey, listen, I have no problem with that. But, and if you're the coach of that team and you didn't win a state championship with 3 number 1 draft picks, everyone and their brother will be all over that guy. Just like the coach that told Michael Jordan, I'm cutting you from my varsity team his sophomore year, which justifiably so, because he wasn't the best player, and he had not grown to the 6'6" stature that he wound up being.
That's true.
I think he was only like 5'11".
That's true, but it's one of those things that you go back and you go, you're always going to be that guy that cut.
Oh, yeah. Aren't you the guy that cut Michael Jordan when he was a sophomore in high school?
It's like all those teams that didn't draft Tom Brady, they have to live with that forever.
Oh, there you go. Every single team.
Every
single team had a chance. Even if you didn't have a 1st or 2nd round pick, you still had a chance to get Tom Brady. Everyone did, including my beloved Bills. Yep. And, Lord knows, we haven't had a really good quarterback since Jim Kelly. I'm just saying.
The same thing goes. I mean, the conversation is, we're going to find out a lot this year, but the conversation is so far, was Tom Brady good because he went to New England? Was he, he's always going to be great, but was he that great because he went to New England, he was in that system, and he was in with Bill Belichick?
Yes.
So we're going to find out this year how great Tom Brady really is.
Well, he's certainly going to be playing a different style of football, because you're not going to be dinking and dunking in Tampa.
Not with those weapons.
No, not with those weapons. Now, can Tom Brady go a full season throwing a ball 40, 50, 60 yards down the field? He didn't do it the second half of the season. He didn't have any arm strength
I'll tell you though, Ron,
in the second half of the year.
I always bring it up. He didn't trust his receivers last year either. I mean, he didn't trust them.
I get it.
He didn't trust them. So maybe he's like, if I throw this ball down the field, I don't trust that guy to go up and get it. So he just decided not to.
Well, Mike Evans is a big target. And he, I think that the closest big target receiver to Mike Evans, and he's a very poor man / homeless man's version of him, would be Randy Moss.
You think Randy Moss is a poor man's version?
No.
Oh,
the other way around. He's a homeless man's version of Randy Moss.
I was like,
he's not a poor man's version. He's a homeless man's version of Randy Moss. That's it's not even close to a comparison. Mike Evans is good, but he ain't that good.
He's like top 5 receivers in the league right now. I would put him maybe top 6.
Yeah, probably back end of the top 10. Because
Really?
Thomas is better than he is.
Michael Thomas is pretty
Julio
good.
Jones is better than he is. He's not even the best receiver in his own division.
Yeah, but that's a stacked division.
And he may not even be the second best receiver in his own division.
Until now, both those receivers had far and away better quarterbacks than he did, with Matt Ryan in Atlanta and Drew Brees in New Orleans.
Jameis Winston threw for over 5,000 yards last
But
year.
he threw to the other team an awful lot.
Well, yeah, I mean, granted, he did throw an awful lot of touchdown passes, albeit some of them to opposing players. But, he threw 30-plus touchdowns, threw 30-plus interceptions. But, I mean, look, Brady will be okay in Tampa. To answer the question, Brady's greatness was a lot to do with Belichick.
Where you go matters. I mean, I think you can go to a lot of quarterbacks' career and say they were probably they would probably be good no matter where they went, but they were as great as they were because of where they went. John Elway in Denver, perfect setup for him.
Yes.
Would he have had the career he had if he didn't go to Denver? I don't know. Maybe not. Joe Montana.
Montana's at the perfect equation of Brady.
Mm-hmm.
Montana played for a really great offensive mind in Bill Walsh. Now, Montana, he went to Kansas City and did lead really Kansas City to the AFC title game.
He did really, but he was
in
also
93
under
and
Marty
ran into a great Bills defense.
He was also coached by another really great coach.
Absolutely.
So, but Joe Montana's great. Not
Look, Marty's not a great offensive mind. He was more of a defensive mind.
Right.
But the idea that he was able to lead that team to the AFC title game, and look, if Buffalo's not on their 4-year dominance, they probably go to the Super Bowl. And
you're right.
The other equation is if his head doesn't get bounced off the 25-yard line early on in the game, who knows?
Once that happens, the Bills were like, we just have to stop Marcus Allen.
That's it. That's all they needed to do. I honestly, I think that game was going to be a very close come down to the last couple of minutes, which honestly feeds into Montana's hands.
The playoff game that hurts me more in the 90s Chiefs is the one where they replaced Rich Gannon with Elvis Grbac in the divisional round, where they lost to a team that limped into the playoffs in the Colts at home. That didn't sit right, because Rich Gannon went and won them the second half of the season while Elvis Grbac was hurt.
Yeah.
And they decided, Gerbac's still our guy, because Marty has this thing that Marty is stuck in his ways where he will not give up a starting job if you get hurt.
There's a gleam. There's a gleam.
And then Rich Gannon went to Oakland, and he went to a Super Bowl.
Yeah. There you go. Now, Buffalo had a similar.
And then there was another one where we had the best record in the league with Steve Bono, I believe, and we lost to Denver.
Yeah.
On 3 missed field goals.
Yeah. There's a similar scenario with the Bills when Flutie had his magical year, and Gomer Phillips decided, hey, we're going to go with Rob Johnson in the Music City mugging against Tennessee.
Wasn't his fault, though.
No, it wasn't. I mean, Rob Johnson actually gave the Bills the lead late in the game, and then the Music City mugging happened. And it's a mugging because it was a forward lateral. Don't give me this shit that it was straight line across.
Straight line,
Bull, it was not a straight line. When a ball is thrown on the 14 and caught on the 16, it's not on the straight line. It was caught on the 16-yard line.
It's about where the ball was released, not where the
ball was released on the 14. It was caught on the other side of the 15.
There are no flags on the field, Ron.
Yeah, there's no flags because it was a Music City mugging. Music City Miracle, my ass. 330-886-0813.
So in your opinion, was it karma justice that they were this short of winning a Super Bowl?
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely it was.
I mean,
because that's the length that the ball was forward.
And a completely no-name and Mike Jones makes the Super Bowl winning tackle.
Yeah.
I mean, against a guy that's Dyson, who's one of those slippery wide receivers. Perfect play call.
Yeah.
And this no-name linebacker that no one's ever heard of in St. Louis.
And no one will ever hear of him.
Makes a tackle.
Yeah. Saves
probably the best defensive play in Super Bowl history.
Oh, it's one of. There's no two ways about that.
Because Aaron McNair, salute to you, because he pulled a rabbit out of his hat to get them into that situation.
Yeah, well.
With that scramble, he broke a tackle.
All you needed was the Music City mugging, and then everything fell into place.
Well, I still have a lot of respect for Steve McNair.
Oh, look, no, I mean, phenomenal. And I saw him when he was with the McNeese Steak throw for over 500 yards against YSU at the Igloo, or at the Ice Castle.
He left us too soon, too, and it's just one of those. It's a shame because he probably had a little bit more in the tank.
Hey, he did. I think he did. But, that was, that when they lost by this much, I was like, yep. And it was this much that cost the Bills that game because that ball was forward by this much. 330-886-0813.
That was the most
disgusting.
I've never seen up to that point. I'd never seen a play more analyzed than that one. I mean, people broke it down with computer programs and software, and it was Here's the trajectory of the ball.
Yeah.
It was insane that people handled that.
Music City mugging.
All right.
That's all I'm going to say.
He's not biased at all.
Not at all. Not at all. Let's go to the MP Vivo Heating and Air Conditioning hotline. What's going on?
What's happening, young man, Ron?
What's up, Rich?
I'm doing okay. You guys having fun today?
Oh, we're having a good time. Having a good time.
Well, I got to make a non-sports statement before we get into anything good here. So I'm amazed. My gal's going for surgery on her wrist, and the one doctor's office and another doctor's office and the surgery center. All the technology that we have with computers and fax machines and laser beams, and I think we made more progress with a staple gun, paper clips, and rubber bands. Honest to God.
Yeah, well, sometimes the modern technology is a pain in the backside.
Is it Occam's razor? Sometimes the simplest answer is the best one.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's true.
We are living in the age of degress, not progress, and that's all I got to say about that.
All right,
Anyway,
man.
Okay, let's go. How'd you like Bieber's performance the other night?
Gutty. He didn't have his best stuff, but he was able to take care of business and struck out 10. And he again, it wasn't his best stuff, but when you go up against Minnesota and you're able to limit them to just 2 runs, I'll take it any day of the week.
Man, they got some lumber on that team. I'll tell you.
Man, that team is scary good. They really are. That's a really good baseball team.
I don't watch the games. I don't have the ability to watch on TV, but I chime in with Tom Hamilton and crew, and just the way he describes the way that Bieber walked out on the field. He said his kid's just glowing with confidence.
Yeah. And look, I mean, it's nice when you don't have your A game and you're still able to beat an elite team like Minnesota. You're an elite pitcher when you don't have your A game and you're still able to win that game.
Yeah, his offense helped him out. Him out.
And all they got to do is score 4 runs, they'll win. I mean, now they're 13-2 when they score 4 or more runs.
Amazing. And maybe everybody's slamming, the Cleveland Indians, and we don't have Chief Wahoo anymore, yada, yada, yada. How about on the bright side? Thank you, Chris Antonetti, for getting these guys signed up on our club.
Well, I mean, it's a pitching factory, and I don't know what they do in the minor leagues or how they assess pitching, but it's pretty safe to say that the Indians are the pitching capital of the world, and boy, if we can get some offense between now and August 31st to go along with this pitching staff, I think the Indians win the World Series.
Well, I'm seeing that Clevenger is going to be activated on a weekend series.
Well, no, he's pitching tonight, Rich. He's pitching tonight, and they activated him for tonight. Don't be surprised if it's his one and only start with the Indians and they trade him, but Clevenger pitches tonight because the Indians need to win this game.
Well, this could be where are we playing?
Well, it's home.
Okay, we're home. Okay, I was going to say, if it was a road game, then basically that's probably where it'd end up but on the trade. But you know what? We had the rookie, he said, pitch Saturday that pitched his butt off and did a fine job. Got some nice young arms here.
Yeah, definitely.
And the passing of Corey Kluber, everybody was, pissed off, but now he's damaged goods again. These guys know what they're doing. Maybe with Clevenger we could package up a couple nice bats. That would be nice.
Well, I mean, look, if you're going to trade Clevenger, number one, you better get what he's worth. And number two, you better get a really productive stick. Otherwise, don't make this deal until the offseason.
On a final note, in Antonetti, we trust.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, guys, have a great day.
Man, see you. Yeah, that's he's earned my trust, and he and Tito both. They know what they're doing.
He made a good point about the Kluber deal. I think the Indians, what they also do well, besides bringing up young pitching, they seem to know when to leave pitchers.
Yep.
Like, I mean, at the time, Kluber seemed like, oh, that's a stupid trade. He's still pitching well. But look what he did as soon as he left Cleveland. He wasn't Kluber anymore, and they saw it before everyone else did. And that's just another testament to how good they are at seeing pitchers.
Yeah, he had a god-awful year last year. I mean, it was an injury-plagued year. His ERA was over 5. He lost some velocity, and I just thought it was the right time to trade him.
The Indians saw it.
For what they got, And look, we're not going to know how good of a pitcher Clase is until the jockey comes back from his little how do you do suspension. But look, at the end of the day, I'm not afraid to say this. In 2021, look, we've seen Karinchak and how dominant his stuff is. Clase has dominant stuff as well. Those two guys, and oh, by the way, let's go. Brad Hand is a closer. Game, set, match. You better have the Indians after 6 innings. You better be beating this team after 6 innings because you're not going to beat them if the Indians have a lead after 6.
It's going to be like, I hate to sound like a homer, but it's going to be like the 15 Royals.
There you go.
Triple hit a monster out of the bullpen. If they had a lead after the 6th inning, you pretty much did away with it. It was done.
Yeah, all said and done. That's, to bed we go. And get the victory.
And before 2015, that wasn't really a thing in the MLB to have 3 people that just in the bullpen like that. And the Royals kind of set the precedent of like, this is okay, this could work. You don't have to have specialty guys. You just have guys take care of the 7th, 8th, 9th, and then you're done.
Well, and the other part of that is not only are we going to have guys that take care of it, but guys that, oh, by the way, throw ungodly hard and have really, really good stuff, movement and otherwise. So the Indians, they're hip to what Kansas City did, and now, last year that bullpen, while it was very solid up until a certain point, they also had a bunch of salad tossers. They didn't have a lot of guys that threw hard coming out of that bullpen, and the Indians knew, look, if we're going to be taking that next step and become a serious contender, we have to be able to have some guys that can throw the hell out of a baseball toward the back of the bullpen. Enter Karinchak, and it was supposed to be enter Clase, but then he's now in the 9th race over at Pimlico somewhere.
Speaking of, the Royals brought a guy out of the bullpen last night that hit 103.
Nice.
On the radar gun.
Yeah.
Woo.
That's good.
Yikes. That's insane.
That's solid. Now, as I have said on a number of occasions, if a guy throws 100+ miles an hour, but the ball is flat as a pancake, it's going to get hit.
Well, yeah, but imagine if you can do that, but then you have like an 88 change in the back pocket.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's what McKenzie did.
Right.
Now, he doesn't throw 100, but McKenzie went 88 on his changeup and 95, 96 on his fastball.
Even, if your fastball, even if it's like 95, 94, if your changeup is 10 to 15 miles per hour difference in that, it's going to be an electric changeup.
Sure.
The miles per hour doesn't matter. If that
and the location.
There, boom.
Yeah.
I think James Shields had just when he was in his prime, one of the best changeups I've ever seen.
Oh my gosh, yes. Yeah, it's and again, if you throw it just like you throw a fastball, same arm movement. So if you have that opportunity, Madison Bumgarner had an unbelievable changeup,
ridiculous,
to where it's same arm speed coming out of the hand, but the ball is going to be less velocity because
nothing to pick up either.
Yeah.
You can't pick up a changeup spin.
Nope.
Really, so it's just you have to kind of guess.
And the bottom drops out of the changeups unless you leave it over the plate and belt high, then you're going to get destroyed. But if you want to speed a bat up, that's a great way to do it, especially if you're throwing 95, 96, and then the guy's looking for a fastball. He gets a changeup instead. You talk about speeding up a bat, the guy's going to screw himself into the ground trying to catch up a pitch that's not even here yet.
Helmet's going to fly off.
Yeah, that's the Bugs Bunny Ephus pitch where everyone's going 330-886-0813. We'll take a timeout, be back. Well, actually, let's keep it here for a couple of minutes because we
be back and wrap it up.
Yeah, because then we'll be back and wrap it up.
Pretty soon.
Yeah, the power hour's coming up. Yeah. Now, are you taking part in the power hour?
I think that
because you weren't around yesterday.
I think Tristan Reynolds is going to come into the studio, so I think I will be sitting out of the power hour.
All right.
But also I got to get out of here and get to Crestview because I got a volleyball game tonight.
Who's Crestview playing?
Crestview hosts East Liverpool, and they're going to have senior night tonight, early right off the bat, just in case they don't get a full season. A lot of teams are putting their senior nights up early in the season. So
yeah, and I'll tell you what, that is probably the best move because, again, we have no idea if this is going to fly for the whole season. Mm-hmm. We're seat of the pants, flying by the seat of our pants, not just here, but everywhere in the state of Ohio. We're flying by the seat of our pants, and we're flying blind because we have no idea if we're going to be playing every single Friday. Now, we hope that COVID and the outbreaks are going to be minor. But I think that Doug Chapin said this in the 2 o'clock hour when we talked Warren Harding. This is something that is going to be in play. Just because you have Team X as your opponent, there's no guarantee that Team X is going to be healthy and without a COVID outbreak. And if there's a COVID outbreak, good luck trying to find a team that's going to be willing to play you unless they are suffering the same fate you did. And then you got to scour the schedule from probably across the entire state of Ohio at that point.
Yeah, and I think Dana Ballish tweeted earlier this week that of the 700 and change teams in the OHSAA that were, geared up to play football, I think 60 teams have had to at least pause because of a COVID-19. That seems like a small number, but that's 11.5% of your teams.
It's a lot of teams.
So it's enough. It's enough to affect people's schedules. It's not enough to stop the season by any means necessary, so we're good with that. But you just definitely got to keep that in mind that one of those 60 teams might pop up on your schedule, and you might have to adjust on the fly.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, there were a lot of teams in Columbus that threw the red flag up and said, "Now we're shutting down football this year." And there were some teams up in the Cleveland area that did the exact same thing, but. Again, it's a week-to-week thing. You hope and pray that your team does not have a COVID outbreak, because if you do, well, you're going to be down a week and possibly longer, depending on how severe the outbreak is.
And Columbus, Cleveland, those are big metro cities, so you're obviously at a little bit higher risk up there. So it's not a huge shock. I'm sure Cincinnati has had a couple teams too.
All right, 3-3. Yeah, absolutely. 330-886-0813. We'll put a wraps on this bad boy and be back to put the wraps on this. It is a Wednesday edition of Running Points, one day closer to high school football. Yippee skippy. Back in a bit. Stick around.
The details. Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods is one fine ride. Perfect cornering, superb handling, sporty and stylish, power to spare, plus awesome mileage. Yeah, jaw-droppingly beautiful lines and well-appointed with luxurious trim. Put more oomph in your life and start beholding the molding. Find your home's fine hardwood at BairdBrothers.com.
Storm season.
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air.
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
Online.
All right, let's talk high-risk futurecast and the timing of this weather.
On social media and on our app.
Stay in the showers. I'm keeping my eye on in parts of Columbiana County.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
The severe weather threat now through around sunset this evening.
Hi everyone, this is DJ Yoakley with Your Sports Network. We appreciate your support of YSN and welcome you to the YSN family. Our broadcast streams are brought to you live at no cost to you by sponsors that are local to this community. Without the vision and generosity of our sponsors and partners, we would not be able to bring this game to you today. So please support the great businesses and leaders that are making this game possible. And if you're a business in need of great advertising and sponsorship opportunities, feel free to head over to our site for more information on the right fit for you. We are local, we are loyal, and we are live. We are YSN.
Baird Brothers remains your source for fine hardwood products. For the time being, we're open for customer pickup only on weekdays, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. and Saturday from 9 a.m. till noon. Place your order online at BairdBrothers.com. Baird Brothers, for the place you love.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
The 4M Company, being an architect and construction manager for over 40 years, has had the opportunity to use many different electrical businesses for our projects. The depth, quality, and knowledge and attention to detail displayed by Dickey Electric makes them stand out above all the rest.
For state-of-the-art expertise and a timeless commitment to our customers, contact Joe Dickey Electric. We are everything electrical.
I'm feeling pretty good about myself, like I'm living the dream. Platform shoes, strut down the street. It's gonna get hot in here, I hope you can handle the heat.
Over the years, you watched us grow, and as we've grown, so has the Myers Family Insurance team.
Thanks to all of you who have trusted our families to help you with your Medicare needs.
Myers Family Insurance looks forward to helping you now for years to come, so call our family today and remind them how cute we are.
Myers Family Insurance continues to be the area's resource for all your Medicare and retirement needs. Call today, 330-286-3044.
They say American craftsmanship is making a comeback. Of course, at Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, it never went away.
People are floored by Baird Brothers' authentic hardwood floors. They stare at our stairs and adore our doors. Baird Brothers reflects 3 generations of family craftsmanship. Visit our huge in-stock selection in person or at BairdBrothers.com.
Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
Planning a project around your home or rental property? Trust the electrical service to the local experts with 62 years of serving the Mahoning Valley. Joe Dickey Electric is your local go-to source for responsive, reliable residential electrical work. From everyday maintenance and repairs to new installations, electrical upgrades, and safety inspections, no job is too big or too small. Call Joe Dickey Electric today, 800-549-3976, or visit DickeyElectric.com. That's DickeyElectric.com.
Myers Family Insurance knows the importance of a great team.
Our team continues to grow to help you with your Medicare and retirement needs.
The annual election period is here, so it's all hands on deck to make sure your plans still meet your needs for 2020.
Call us today.
Welcome back to a Wednesday edition of Running Point on YSNLive.com. Ron Potesta with you alongside Anthony Hartwig. We had a extended break.
Extended break.
Yeah. We had an extended break because this was in the refrigerator and I was hungry. So, yeah.
This Running Point wrap-up brought to you by Pizza Joe's.
Yeah, you can say that again. Pepperoni pizza from Pizza Joe's.
They take care
Hold
of
on
us.
a second.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, because anywhere else it'd be like, not Pizza Joe's. Yeah. Big time. That was good, damn good pizza.
They took care of us. Sunday we had our boot camp. We had a lot of our new kids here. learning how to run everything, and they took care of us with a lot of pizzas, and we had a good time on Sunday. We're gearing up for Friday night football, and Thursday night football, and Saturday night football.
A lot of brand new voices for the teams that are going to be on our airwaves. So you'll definitely hear some new voices and hear some familiar voices depending on where you go. Now, I will say that I will be doing most of the Crestview games this year. I think the only game that we're not going to be taking part in because East Liverpool has a broadcast team.
YSN will have it. It'll just be
it'll be the East Liverpool broadcast. And I'll probably be somewhere else that week. If not, I'll just go to a Leetonia game and check up on my alma mater, who I think is going to have a really good season, by the way.
By the way, one last time, to get your team, go to ysnlive.com, go to the high schools tab, find the school that you want to watch, click it. You'll pay $9.99 for your pay-per-view, and then once you enter your credit card information, you'll be good to go. Press play, and you'll be good for the rest of the night. That's how you do it on Friday nights, Thursday nights, Saturday nights, whenever your team plays.
And again, a reminder, if you are using your smartphone, you're going to be watching your game from your smartphone unless you have a smart TV.
Right.
That way you can have your smartphone hook up with your TV. And I am way off the reservation on this stuff because I grew up in an era when we didn't have any of this. Anthony is a tech guy.
Ron still looks at a TV and looks for the knob. What's this remote thing we're talking about? Well, I want a knob and I turn the channel.
All I know is I wish I had a remote control when I was a kid growing up. It would have saved me from things being thrown at me. Hey, change the channel.
Were you the kid that had to stand in the same position because the antenna only worked in that spot?
No, actually, funny story. When we left Boardman in 1972, Boardman and Youngstown did not have cable. They did not have cable. You still had the antenna and all kinds of antennas outside. When I moved to Leetonia, cable TV was the new thing. In Leetonia, we had cable TV. I had stations in Cleveland, Pittsburgh, and Youngstown as well. And I looked at this and I was like, okay, sure, we left Boardman for a small town, but I got cable TV. I'm good.
Knowing that, now I am not surprised at all that Latonia was the first school to go for YSN because they obviously like to try new things over in Latonia. So
absolutely.
Tip our hats to Latonia.
And they are number one at something.
Numero uno.
Yeah, they were the number one team to jump on YSN. So there you go. All right, that'll do it for the Wednesday edition of Running Point. Tune in tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. Anthony will see me on Monday. You got things to do. Thursday. I'm still trying to figure out why you're not here on Friday, but that's all right.
Well, because I'm here all night. So if I was here for you, I'd be pulling like a 12-hour shift.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's true. I mean, that's part of Friday. Part of the wonderful thing about Friday football.
What I can do on Thursday, before I come in on Friday night, I can make sure all the stories from Thursday night are up and good, and then Friday night it can be all about football.
That's all right.
We have 5 Thursday football games, too.
Yeah, this is true. This is true. We will go through all of the games on Thursday as well as preview the games on Friday. Should be a great first weekend of high school football. That'll do it for the show. Tune in. Power Hour is coming up in a bit. Have yourselves a great rest of your Wednesday.